Eat the mic.
Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 254, and it's colder in the garage. Not too bad. It's going to be worse probably next week, so that'll be fun. But this week, it's about 40-some degrees, maybe pushing 40. I don't know. And we are joined by a returning guest.
That's right. Kool-Aid Man.
Been a while.
Actually, the Kool-Aid Man's never been on here, but
No.
today is.
He's wearing red for those that are listening on audio. All the red.
A lot of red.
All the red. Ryan Ponist with Alec Bradley Cigars. Welcome back to the show, to the garage, to the Columbus area, all that good stuff.
Ohio, even.
Ohio.
Even. I'm in Ohio.
You are in Ohio. So we're happy to have him. We got a pretty much brand new cigar. I mean, it's
that's
last year's release.
It's new.
So we'll get to that here for the first part. I want to thank our sponsors before we get started here. You guys at patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. If you guys want to contribute on a monthly basis, definitely hit that up. There's different tiers you can do and some swag you can get. And then also, if you want to do one-time contribution at Venmo, it's at Bourbon and BS for one-time contributions. We appreciate all that support. We mentioned last week we had to get a new camera. So that little stuff like that, it helps out tremendously to keep this show going. So appreciate that. Also, Tinder Box at Easton, where you'll be able to find this cigar, not in this size, but you'll be able to find the cigar from Alec Bradley. And again, we'll go over that. But it is the Double Broadleaf.
The Double Broadleaf.
The Double Broadleaf by Alec Bradley Cigars. Right now, I think it's only available currently at the Tinder Box at Easton in the Toro size. They had the chunk size as well. The chunk is that's right. So check them out. If you guys don't have a local brick and mortar, look for this cigar from places like Tinder Box at Easton, and hopefully they can ship to you, or you can always find certain cigars. I don't know if this one's available on some of the online retailers, but I know you guys do sell through the online retailers. Alec Bradley does. So great. And then also Altadis USA behind us, as Ryan was trying to point out there, Monte Cristo, Romeo Julieta, H. Upman, Aging Room, and others. I've got some Romeo by Romeos if we want to smoke those for part 2, or we have another size of the same cigar here. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, Altadis USA, always a big supporter of the show. We appreciate all the great people like Josh Bentley at Altadis USA.
We do love Josh Bentley.
We do. BS Cigar Company, the gold and silver are available. The gold is made by Placencia, thanks to a partnership that we have with a certain company.
Alec
Bradley Cigars.
Alec Bradley.
They are our window to Placencia, and it's fantastic.
That's a nice way of saying the window. Yeah. I like
you
that.
can use it.
Thanks.
The silver is made by Eric Espinosa. I had the privilege of talking to him today on the phone. I love Eric.
You talked to him on the phone today?
I did. He was getting ready to fly out to California for Guy Fieri's birthday.
You looked a little swole when I came in, so that makes sense.
I hit the gym.
Eric's good at
he pumps you up.
He pumps you up.
Whatever you need, bro. Whatever you need,
bro.
Yeah. No, for you, yeah, of course. It's awesome. So, that's made by Espinosa Cigars, and happy to have the silver available. We have more of the silver coming in at the Tinder Box at Easton shortly. And then last but not least, buyjack.com. We are a little bundled up. Nate's got a hoodie on. Does it have a hole in it?
It does. That happened the other day. Yeah.
That's so sad. That's the black camo barrelhead logo for the Bourbon and BS.
I can always just buy another one.
You can.
At
buyjack.com/Bourbon and BS. Check this out. I know where you can find them. All right. That was long.
That was not planned.
It's been long. All right. Oh, yeah, there's the video. Fantastic. Ryan, how the hell are you?
Doing great. It's great to be here. It's great to be in your company. It's great to be in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's great that I brought a huge can of butane in and proceeded to not fill my lighter with it.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you need butane?
Or a lighter. Yeah, I do.
What?
We got it.
There's your can.
See, I brought it.
It's your can.
It's there. We're good. But other than that, I'm great. I hope everybody else out there is doing great. Happy New Year. Even though it's 18 days into the new year.
How long do you
It's been years since I've been here at this point. It's been years.
Has it really?
I don't know. Has it?
I don't know when last
yeah,
time
actually,
I can look it up.
Yeah, actually, I guarantee you it has been since probably the end of 2021. So technically, it has been years.
Damn.
It has been years. Take that back.
That's incredible.
It is, but it's good to be back.
It is good to be back or have you back. I'm here most time.
Most of the time.
I do live here. But you've got a new position with since we saw you last.
That's correct.
You have a new position with Alec Bradley. You're still
Bradley.
with the
I'm
company.
The, business development manager, so I don't get to travel areas like this as often as I did. I do get to obviously still travel. I'm very happy that I was able to pull this off in the garage here tonight. But I'm reaching out. I spread my wings. I'm in a little bit more, a little bit more areas than I was before.
You are. What do you cover? You cover the whole
everything.
The whole.
I haven't
country.
been everywhere yet, but
Yeah.
we're getting there.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to Nebraska soon.
I heard that's gorgeous this time of the year.
This time of the year,
I don't know,
fantastic.
probably not.
We'll
Right,
find
cool.
out. We're gonna find out.
Okay.
Ryan, the last time you were on was July 2020.
Wow. Actually, I didn't think it was that far
with
back.
Tim Colich.
Wow. I thought I did one since then.
No,
I thought you did too.
I did a search and when
July of 2020, and you were.
That was a great time.
Yeah, that was when things had opened back up, and you were on not that long prior to that, remotely with Alan Rubin.
Yes, I think that's correct.
That was early 2020.
I was on a handful of times before that, I believe.
Yeah, you've been in this
I'm just
garage, you're in
surprised.
the old
I
garage.
thought there was one in between then and there. So yeah, it's great to be back. I was joking about years and hear the sobering reality that it's been years.
It has been
since
years.
I've been here.
You've been busy. It's fine.
Everybody's been busy.
Yeah. I'm going to share this feed here on certain pages, mine included. I encourage you guys to do the same. But we've got the double broadleaf from Alec Bradley, like I said, and we've also got the Calumet Farm 8-year-old is what they call it.
8-year.
8-year-old. So let's start with, since we got Ryan here, the double broadleaf. What I'm curious about with this one is that it has on there some traditional Alec Bradley type band, first of all.
Yeah, very standard.
With a secondary band says double broadleaf, and then it also says on the primary band underneath the Alec Bradley logo, experimental series.
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about, if you would, this cigar that we're smoking, the double broadleaf by Alec Bradley.
So right now, the experimental series is made up of 3 cigars. In order of appearance, it is the Project 40, the Project 40 Maduro, and then now you have the double broadleaf. So with the double broadleaf, what we did to make this a unique project that we put a label on it like experimental series is that we took Connecticut broadleaf and we grew that in Honduras. So this cigar features that as not only the wrapper, but again on the binder. Then you have another Nicaraguan binder, and then you have Honduran Nicaraguan fillers.
So double binder,
double broadleaf. Double chin, double drink,
double your fun.
Spearmint gum, double your pleasure, double your fun.
See, this was good. All right, see you guys next week. No.
See you guys.
Wrap it up on a high note.
All right. So that's interesting because the broadleaf, I've heard, obviously Connecticut broadleaf, and that is a certain type of tobacco for those that don't know.
Correct.
And it's called Connecticut broadleaf because typically it is grown in Connecticut of the USA. But there's been Nicaraguan broadleaf, and I don't know of much.
Pennsylvania
broadleaf, good call. I don't know much Honduran broadleaf. As far as what it would be.
You mention it. I don't believe I recall that ever really being talked about before. But
I remember reading up on this one, and that's what really kind of took me back with that. I was like, oh, Honduran broadleaf, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, broadleaf is. I think for a lot of cigar consumers, broadleaf is one that gets talked about a lot. A lot of guys enjoy broadleaf in whatever regard, whether it's Pennsylvania, Connecticut. So we wanted to do something with that, and we had this opportunity to get this unique broadleaf from Honduras, and we just really enjoyed the flavor of it. And Alan and the team decided that they really wanted to just double down on the broadleaf, so hence the double broadleaf. But yeah, it just gives it a very deep flavor to it. I mean, it's a very wonderful cigar. Tons of flavor to it.
Did you know? I mean, were they? Who's making? Do you disclose that? Who makes the cigar?
As far as what factory it's coming out of?
So
right now, this is Plasencia, Honduras. This is coming out of Tobacos de Orient down in Honduras. So yeah.
So that's what I'm curious on this kind of a blend. I don't know how much you know of the story. Like every blend kind of comes together differently, right? You know, you just have like, did you want to do a double broadleaf first, and then this is how they started blending it? Or was it they had this blend and they, you know, because every factory and every company, like, you know, I don't know if this is Ralph with you guys doing this blend or working on it, but sometimes, you know, you come up with an idea, we want to try this, and you tweak it from there. Other times it's like they just have like 40 different test blends or prototype blends, and then they're like, this is great, like, and they go from there, and that's why they call it the double broadleaf.
It you know, with us, it's kind of like just a very sort of diverse process in the way a cigar comes to be. You know, especially when it comes to the blending and things like that, like, you know, because we're working with different factories, because we have a lot of people that are involved in this company. You know, Ralph Montero, as you mentioned, Alan Rubin, his two sons, Alec and Bradley, you know, everybody is sort of trying different things and pushing the envelope and giving their insight on it, all the way down to when they're in the factories. And, you know, sometimes it comes where this is completely from scratch. Sometimes it comes from, you know, they're down at the factories and somebody says like, you know, hey, I've been working on this blend, sort of like, I'd be curious if you'd be interested in it. And, you know, some things, sometimes it comes out of something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes some like the rolling supervisors and stuff like that, they have blends that they work on and they end up sharing them with somebody.
Well, you had a blend too, when you were in the rep role.
I did. Absolutely.
And I heard that's coming back out, the Corinthian leather.
That may be a thing. You might see that at some point.
I love that smoke. I still have at least one in my humidor.
That's nice. I like that. Corinthian, rich.
It's like a window to me.
It is.
Don't overuse it. You know what I mean? Don't. You gotta.
Every now and then, I just open my humidor, pull out that tray, look at that cigar, and go, "Oh, damn! I need to get another one so I can smoke one."
I thought you were gonna say you got to text Ryan, see how he's doing.
You gotta text me. No. Oddly enough, when he pulls out the cigar blended, he never thinks that. But that's okay. I understand. I understand.
Yeah, every time I do smoke that cigar, I think of you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a great smoke.
It's very nice. I appreciate that.
So the double broadleaf also has traditional boxes. I don't think we have a box here, but
we don't have a box.
But it is. It's more. It's just like it's interesting.
It's a little bit more traditional.
Yeah,
they did some interesting things to it. There's like sort of like this like recess on the box that exposes like this wood panel to it. That I thought was a really nice touch. You know, it's always sort of interesting, like when we're looking at concept drawings and then you see something in person. You know, like the box was one of those things when I was looking, I was like, I don't know if this will translate as well. And then like you see the final box and you're like, yeah, that came out really cool. You know, like all right, well, we're good with that. Like,
yeah, it's interesting that you put this in the ballpark of the Project 40.
Correct. Because
the Project 40, when it was launched, and again, obviously take it further than what I'm going to say, but it was kind of more of a budget friendly cigar from Alec Bradley. So you had that come out, and then you were also kind of in the midst of doing the Alec and Bradley stuff with Alec and Bradley blending, like the Blind Faith, and then the Gatekeeper, the Kintsugi. But you had like the Project 40 come out. Project 40 Maduro, I think, was a follow-up, if I'm not mistaken, or was that
Correct.
The same time?
That was a
follow-up, and that was on the lower price point for your guys' portfolio.
Correct.
This comes out, experimental series, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's another budget-friendly cigar. It's not like your fine and rare, but I mean, it's definitely in that kind of more average Alec Bradley price point.
Yeah, for sure. Depending on, you know, where you're at, cigar taxes, you know, the majority of people are going to be able to pick up a double broadleaf from somewhere probably in that high 8 to about 12, probably dollar price point. And yeah, I mean, we've never really tried to focus too much on really heavy price point cigars.
Yeah.
You know, I think we do like the fact that most people can pick up our cigars and enjoy them for, you know, what we think is a fair price for them. But you know, it takes all kinds. You know, that doesn't mean we don't have a fine and rare. That doesn't mean we don't have something like a Project 40 or, you know, even like some more like bundle type cigars. But yeah, Project 40, like the reason why that got that experimental moniker was because we were starting to experiment with some Brazilian tobacco that we really haven't used before. And that's kind of how that ended up on that experimental list.
I got you. I like this cigar. It's interesting because, you know, you say broadleaf is pretty popular, which I would agree with. Broadleaf is obviously Connecticut broadleaf mainly. But I think some people were utilizing the name broadleaf and not really saying it was Connecticut or not, and it was grown elsewhere. This is interesting that with it being Honduran, you said it's a really rich flavor. I would agree with it. I definitely think it's got like some of that, like a dark roast black coffee.
I can see that. Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think, Nate?
I agree. I think the cigar has more flavor than it does body. Like I think it's, I think body wise, this is more like a medium plus.
Okay.
But yeah, the flavor I think kind of overpowers the body a little bit. So it would be deceptive when someone smoked it because it's so flavorful. They would think it was a stronger cigar, but it doesn't quite hit like a full body cigar would.
I think one thing we've always talked about, which was something, since I've started with the company that I've kind of boasted when I realized that like a lot of the times that when we're coming out with cigars, things are often very focused on the idea of flavor. That's why a lot of our cigars end up in that medium to medium plus, low full strength cigar. We really don't make anything that's going to blow your head off because our philosophy is it just sacrifices too much flavor. It becomes too focused on that strength.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of our stuff falls in that probably medium to full, but mostly that medium plus category for sure.
I think when you get into this one, this is the Grand Corona size.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 7-inch.
Mm-hmm. Is it a 48 ring?
48 ring.
It's almost like a classic Churchill size.
Yeah,
almost.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I wanted to go with that size because that thinner ring gauge. Because I've only smoked this blend one other time, and it was in the chunk.
Yeah.
So I wanted to smoke it in a thinner ring gauge.
Yeah. I like the Toro size. I smoked the Robusto when I think it was either you or Jake that brought it in. I think it was Jake when he first. I can't
Probably
remember.
Jake.
Probably Jake. But yeah, we smoked the Robusto as like almost like a sample. And when you first light it up, I would agree with you, Nate, that it's got not quite really, really full body, but it definitely has, when you light it up, I think it's going to be like that. Yeah, the flavor is that of a typical, a little heavier in the Ligero type of a blend, which for those that are not as into the cigars, the Ligero would be the stronger leaves of tobacco towards the top of the plants, and that gives it a lot more nicotine. But sometimes you get some bitterness depending on what plant it is, where it's coming out of. So you can't necessarily go. And I think that's what Ryan was really talking about for kind of an explanation there, is that if you go too much Ligero, you're going too much for strength, you do lose that, like you said, the focus on the flavor, and you're kind of, you're not able to get as many nuances out of it because it's just really punching you with those. So, I mean,
it's kind of like when you play ice hockey on Nintendo and you pick the really
like the original one.
Yeah. You pick the really heavy guys. All you do is just strip the puck from people. You can't score with that guy. You can't move around. You gotta have that balance.
So it's like
middle guy,
like Bowser or Donkey Kong in Mario Kart.
They're a little too heavy. You gotta go a little
good top speed. It just takes a while getting there.
Yeah, for sure.
Not as agile.
For sure. Not as agile.
But yeah, I remember the ice hockey. Jesus, I haven't thought about that game in a long time. They had the real skinny guy, right? That was not fast, but you could knock the shit out of him.
There's a cigar shop, and there's this wonderful couple
like Glass Joe and
100%.
Iron Mike. Yeah,
there's this wonderful couple in Pittsburgh, Dave and Patty. They do this retro game night, and they bring out all these old game systems, and they do it at cigar shops. And
that's pretty cool.
I whooped somebody at some ice hockey. Like the score was like something ridiculous, like 22 to 6 or
like
something.
A football score.
Oh yeah, it made no sense. It was a very low scoring college.
So I think those of us that played the Nintendo, just go on this tangent because I really love it right now. But I
will say this: there was this twinkle in your eye of nostalgia that did genuinely come across his face when he was like, "I haven't thought about that ice hockey."
I haven't. And that's just straight Nintendo, right?
That's just straight NES, Nintendo Entertainment System.
I have an NES at home,
but you just had
ice hockey. We'll bust out right now.
You just had the A and B, right? You just had A and B on that. And then I remember, I think it was Super Nintendo.
They had X and Y and then L and R.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. It was I played like NHL on, I think it was Nintendo 64. I think it was basic like Nintendo or Super Nintendo, like NHL 95.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like
Super Nintendo.
Super.
Yeah, probably.
It was right. I was I think a couple years after Super.
When I was like around early 30s, my buddy Tyler had one, I don't know, whatever PlayStation they were on, and he was like, "You want to play NHL, whatever, like 18 or 17 or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool, man." And it's like I'd never really played Sony, and so I got the control. I'm like, "Oh, God damn, like what are all these buttons doing here on this?" So I said, "Does it have the menu where you can kind of see the layout of it, like the diagram of the controller?" And then I started hitting, and it literally had NHL Classic control, and it was just pass and shoot.
That's it.
And move.
That's it.
And it's like, oh, if you hit like R1, it's like a deke, and then this is like spin, and this is a fake, and I'm just like, okay. So I click on the
classic setup. Yeah,
and ended up beating him 1-0, and he's like, well,
this was gonna go,
and he gets all frustrated, right? He's like, well, it's because you only have the 2 buttons, and I was like, well, you have more options. Why? I mean, what else do you fucking need? Yeah, he's doing all this stuff, and I come in and just hit the check him and pass, shoot. And I just pass, shoot, and all right, that's the tangent right there. I love it. Enjoyed that.
Great.
Ice hockey, that was a great game.
Maybe you could introduce that on the Bourbon BS podcast, like a memories segment. Just you talking about something. Memories.
Yeah.
I guess that would be good for a memory segment. If you
We had a whole conversation in the shop last night after it was like just, the last half hour. And we got into like kids' toys and how they have evolved to almost nothing these days versus what we had to, in the 80s and 90s and before that. It's a good conversation.
They've gotten simpler, I guess. I don't know.
They've gotten more expensive.
They have gotten.
Just the video games really changed it all. But anyways, the double broadleaf.
Double broadleaf.
How's this cigar doing for Alec Bradley? This launched in 2022.
Really well. So yeah, we debuted it at the trade show, and you know how that goes.
Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo Bowl.
Sorry,
I did great at
Tecmo.
Tecmo Bowl, and then somebody schooled me because I don't know anything about football. I know a little bit, but not enough. Anyway, point being, this has done really well. So this came out with us at the trade show. We debuted it, took orders for it, and then it shipped kind of late fall of last year. So
yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
When you say, like, you kind of joked like, oh, it's not really a new cigar. It's like, well, it kind of is. It's like, it's
like been out for a couple
months. Yeah, like
it landed on the shelves not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't order a ton of it at the Tinder Box, but it was kind of like, oh, you got like a box of this, and then it's like, oh, the Toros are on back order though.
Right.
And so it's like the chunks arrived, and then it was like a few weeks later, all of a sudden we get the Toros. So
did you get a little taste?
What does that mean? A little taste.
Yeah, that's what we do with the cigars.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So you get it. You made it awkward. Now moving on. What do we got?
I don't know. This is we can talk more about the cigar here in a little bit. How's it smell? The construction's great. I mean, coming out of Placencia, you shouldn't be
construction's good. It is a hardier broadleaf. So, like me, if you did this half-ass light and then you forgot to fill up your thing with butane, you light it again, I might have a little correction coming here shortly.
I don't have much
it is a hardy
like
wrapper,
sheen or shininess. I mean, it's a hardy,
and it's kind of the cigar itself. I mean, it kind of has a rustic look to it.
Yes.
It is not a smooth looking, velvety looking cigar. Like, it looks a little rough.
Yeah.
Is that intentional?
I can see that.
Or happy accident.
It very well just might be how that particular crop came out. I don't know how intentional the look of that is. But I'm not mad at it by any regard.
No, I mean,
it's just what you're dealing with there with that broadleaf they have.
Yeah, I think most of the broadleafs that you see when you're dealing with like the hardier broadleaf category, like I do feel like they do have that look to them a lot. So I think that's probably going to be par for the course as this cigar continues to get made and people continue to buy it.
Yeah, I think with certain wrapper leaves, broadleaf would be one that's very different in a box press, because the box press will kind of smooth out some of the, as you're calling it, rustic. You know what I mean? It kind of really defines that as it, and it looks smoother, but I don't think it really is. It's just because of that mold, and they do it. Like, I think of like one that really jumps out is like the CAO flathead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it still has the same kind of look to the wrapper, but it looks a little bit more polished because that's just that hard mold of that, the box. So, but we're drinking tonight Calumet Farm 8-year bourbon.
8-year.
8-year-old is what they have listed on the Ohio liquor site. And this is something that it's been around for a while. Nate, I know you have a little bit more information on this, but when I saw it on the shelf here locally, there's the like the higher end Calumets, right? Like the 15 there. I think there's a 12, the 16.
Yeah. You have the 8,
Which is this, yeah.
You have a small batch, an 8-year, the Rack Black 10-year, 12-year, 15, and a 16.
No. And this is, I mean, as one would guess, with the younger year on it, the 8. This is coming in at in Ohio, $49.99, which again I think is pretty much average price anymore. But compared to some of the other bottles, like the 15-year comes in at $149. So it's a drastic difference in some of the pricing on the Calumet Farm stuff. And I didn't even know this before, and Nate reminded me of it before the show, is that as you see on the screen, this is more of that classic, like almost like wine bottle look to it.
Correct. Just like the Pappy stuff.
Yeah.
Same style.
And it's got this nice sticker as far as the label on it, and it's got the story on the back. This used to be in a different shaped bottle. That's why I didn't recognize it. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, I know I haven't seen this bottle. I know we haven't done it. And I was surprised by the price tag of being $49.99. I'm like, I don't know what I'm dealing with here. And Nate's like, yeah, this is the one that used to be in the wider, shorter bottle.
Yeah. It almost looked
interestingly enough, because you guys know I'm not like a huge bourbon guy.
Yeah.
While you were in there getting ready to set up, I literally said today, I was like, oh, is this a special Calumet? And he was like,
it looks like
it does. Like,
well, even on, I mean,
packaging sometimes does wonders. Because I thought it was a special version.
Well, the 12-year and the 10-year Rack Black still have that older wider bottle. So it was a shorter bottle that had kind of wider at the shoulders, and then it just slowly kind of tapered down a little bit.
That's a nice way of describing that.
Yeah.
But they've shoulders.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
Nice stance.
Long legs.
Like Steve. But now they've all gone to this kind of style. This kind of traditional wine bottle looks just like, the Pappy bottles and stuff like that. And they even list the mash bill right on the bottle. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. I'm just going to see that there. Yeah, I mean, it says batch number on this, and I don't know if that's all of them, right? I mean, and it says batch size less than 50 barrels.
Yep. Every single batch for that product is less than 50 barrels.
Barrels aged a minimum of 8 years. And this says, I mean, they did dress it up to Ryan's point. I mean,
it says
it looks nice.
Yeah.
It looks nice. And then it says, vintage release, 8-year, proof 90. And to Nate's point there, crafted with a mash bill of 74% corn, 18% rye, and 8% malted barley right there on the label. So they're not hiding anything on this one, which is kind of nice. And they have a little bit of a story on the back.
Why don't you read it to us in that voice of yours?
In this voice?
Did you dress your voice up?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Is that your real voice?
William Wright established Calumet Farm in 1924 on a small farm in Lexington, Kentucky. After Wright's death in 1933, his son Warren began to move the farm's business toward thoroughbred racing. After developing the farm's stock and pedigree for a short time, the Wrights hire famed horse trainer Ben A. Jones. Through dedication, passion, and hard work, the farm began an unparalleled ascent, eventually topping the horse racing world. This rise to glory would cement Calumet Farm as one of the most dominant names in horse racing history. Over the decades that came, the farm produced 2 Triple Crown winners, 8 Kentucky Derby winners, and 8 Preakness winners. Calumet Farm is proud to have 11 horses in the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame. Nothing about the bourbon. Not a goddamn. No wonder everything is on the front because they don't talk about it.
Yeah,
so they're just like rich people now at this point. Like, let's just put out bourbon.
Let's just talk about horses.
So yeah, this bourbon is basically named after that farm, that thoroughbred horse farm, which actually just sold last year.
Okay.
Anyone want to take a guess at how much it sold for? It's 800 acres.
Jesus.
800 acres. I'm going to say they paid.
Are you carrying the one?
I am. I'm going to say. Help me with the math there. No, let's say 11.5 million.
Well, way more than that.
You think way more than that?
I think way more than that.
This is based off of nothing, by the way.
Yeah, I have no frame.
So
literally, yeah.
So the farm though includes all the horse, everything, and going into
Did the horses come with it?
Well,
oh, see, that's
so
a question.
most of the time the horses have their own owner. They're just kept
That is true.
at the stable.
Okay.
So the horses don't come with the sale.
All right.
We got a guess here from Brandon here. 350 mil.
We turned it interactive.
350 mils on the screen here.
I was way off.
I'm gonna say an even half bill.
500 million.
500 million.
36 million.
Shit.
See, I was actually a lot closer.
Price is right.
Price is right rules. Well, it doesn't matter. Any rules. Ponist one. So yeah, $45,000 per acre.
Also, before we get too far, I just want to bring this back out. On the Patreon, I think you guys should get one of those ASMR mics and just have him like read stories into them. And then, I think that would be great bonus content. Like you reading the labels,
Just the labels.
Yeah, just in an ASMR mic, you just going back and forth ear to ear.
Start a TikTok live.
Oh yeah. You might get some interesting.
I think we get
Patreon.
$20, $20.
$20 is $20.
I'll tell you what.
Cameras ain't cheap.
The bourbon's only been around since 2013.
Yeah, I've seen. Like I said, I've seen it before in that wider bottle.
Yeah. So the company that's actually that actually owns it, they basically had acquired some bottles and then or some barrels and then kind of sat on it and then eventually blended it. It's a company called Western Spirits Beverage Company.
Yeah, and it says bottled by Three Springs Bottling Company, Bowling Green, Kentucky, for Western Spirits. That's in the fine print.
Yep.
Yeah. After what the Surgeon General says that women should not drink alcohol during pregnancy, by the way.
You got to tell them where to get it after that. I guess. No, I will say this. I mean, just the bottle move is interesting. Empirical evidence of the fact that two people immediately were like, "Oh, this is a higher end Calumet," and it's the entry level, and that was a change that happened from appearance. That stuff always fascinates me. So like, I find that highly interesting. I think that's well done on their part. I think.
Well, and it matches up with some of the other Calumets. Oh,
That's
it is a 16. I thought it was a 15.
16.
That's the 16.
Oh, double broadleaf, double pour, double chin, double
8,
binder,
16.
double 8.
Wow.
This is a theme tonight.
We got a theme.
Somebody play the lottery. Play double 8s if there's a 2-digit number in Ohio. I don't know.
I don't think it goes that high, but so that is the 16 that he pulled out here, and it's a very similar, different picture on there. I think that's actually the racetrack in the front, isn't it?
That's
or the horse.
That's Churchill Downs.
Churchill Downs,
I believe.
And this is just
that's the farm.
That's just the farm. Yeah, there's probably the stables.
Maybe the stables.
Yeah, those are.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if it's got 800 acres,
800 acres,
should be like a guest house.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, but no, the 16. All
right, Charlie.
When they do the 16s or any of those special releases each year, they actually name them after one of the horses, like one of their famous horses. So like this one
called
Citation.
I'm gonna say
which was a Triple Crown, and the back label doesn't have the same story as the 8-year. It's more
different story.
It's about.
Does it talk about the bourbon?
No, it's about that particular horse.
Still nothing about the bourbon.
Nothing about the
nothing.
Bourbon. It's kind of like the coloring book for adults on the back. I like that.
Yeah,
like the back of breakfast cereal when you were a kid.
It's kind of like before phones, and if you had this bottle of bourbon, when you're like in the bathroom.
I was just about to say,
and you need something to read, and you already read the shampoo bottle, so you're like, oh, why do you keep the bourbon in the bathroom? Reading
material.
So, yeah, come on.
I don't hate that idea. You might be onto something.
Well, maybe like a hidden bottle underneath the sink, like that's one thing. But
one of the other cool things about them naming this particular 16-year after Citation is at one point Citation had a 16 race win streak.
Oh wow,
man, this story gets deep.
Bonus fact.
Wow. All right.
Better than what they did in Celebrity Jeopardy the other night. You heard about that debacle?
No.
They were quoting Field of Dreams, and they had to name the state. Like, hey, is this heaven? No, it's
Iowa.
No one got it.
Who are the celebrities?
Was it Iowa?
The correct answer is Iowa.
Is that right?
Iowa's correct. One person guessed Nebraska, another person guessed Wisconsin, and then Patton Oswalt didn't even buzz in.
You want to know who doesn't think that was that dumb of a question? Steve Crank.
I think it's a great question. I think those people are probably from, like California or New York or something like that.
Or don't know how to read.
It's a movie, so not a whole lot of reading.
Maybe not.
Subtitles, maybe, if you're watching on a plane.
So what do we think of this bottle?
Good.
Are we drinking?
We are drinking.
I'm drinking.
I'm enjoying this. It's an easy sipper. It's not overly sweet.
It tickles my diabetes just right. I'm gonna throw that out there.
When I had a couple sips before lighting up the cigar, it was very kind of thin. Like it doesn't really coat the palate. I don't think it had kind of that light, thin texture and a lot of oak, a lot of woodiness to it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get a whole lot of sweetness. There's a little bit of it there, a little bit of spice, but for me, it was very oak heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
It actually goes pretty well with the cigar.
I think the cigar makes the whiskey taste better.
Yeah, it's a nice pairing here.
Go ahead.
I'll top this off
Why don't
here.
you top that off?
Thank you.
Which is funny because I think one of the last times, well, it wasn't with the Gatekeeper. I think it was last year or 2 years ago when we featured another Alec Bradley cigar. That was one where my rating on the pairing was actually higher than the two products individually.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually one of my favorite pairings of all time.
I just smoked it. It makes it better.
Hey, little smoke drink.
Yeah. I should double smoke it.
There's a new steakhouse that just opened up or is opening up next week over by Tinder Box at Easton here in Columbus, Ohio, called Cut 132. Just look at their menu. Smoked old fashioned. $22.
Smoke's no cheap.
That's how you do it.
Oh, look at that.
That is fancy.
You can hold it a lot in there.
Yeah, with the Glencairn.
Yeah, that's nice. I like
it's physics, really.
Physics.
I like this bourbon actually. I'm very pleasantly surprised by it. I mean, $49.99. I think, as we've talked about on the show plenty of times, is kind of your more average price now. That $50 price mark.
That's a bang for your buck category.
It's not bang for your buck. I'd say 20 to 35 is your bang for your buck bottle. Below that, I was at a restaurant with my girlfriend Kristen on Monday, and they had happy hour $4 well pours, and I was like, I gotta ask, what's the well whiskey? And she's like, Old Crow. And I just laughed. I was like,
yeah,
really? Old Crow. She laughed back. She's like, yeah, I know. And I was like, I'll take one of those.
How was it?
It was well,
a little pungent.
Yeah,
because
we have
the smoothest bottle of
because we have not yet started. And I had this idea last year where like maybe once a month we would do something from the bottom shelf of the liquor store.
Maybe once a quarter.
Once a quarter.
That's great. I think that's great.
No, I'm down. Old Crow, my college roommate did. No one would drink the Old Crow at this one bar, and it was like, I don't know, it was like probably $1.50 a shot at the time. And so he basically, in a matter of, which again, the way that we drink whiskey now, but like in a matter of like a week, he finished the whole bottle of Old Crow, and the whole staff like signed it. And it was
do you know how bad inflation has gotten? You said $1.50, and not in my mind did I think you meant $1.50. I was like, wow, that was an expensive.
Oh no, Old Crow. No, it was
like,
this place also had 75-cent beers. Like
sweet.
Miller High Life was 75 cents, and then like there was this one beer, I don't even remember what it was. Comes in a white can with blue. It like looks like the generic, things on like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Old German, probably.
I don't even remember, but it looked like the kind of almost like where it's like a white can, it's just beer.
Yeah,
like a prop.
Yeah,
It kind of reminded me of that, but it was 75 cents. But yeah, Old Crow. Anyways, back to this one. $50.
I think it's solid.
Yeah, Ryan. You said you're not the biggest bourbon drinker, so you don't buy a whole lot. But I mean, $50 is it's. I'd say right there, kind of. With cigars, it's kind of your your $12 to $14 cigar.
I mean, I feel like at this point, like scotches are probably in that similar price tier where I think 50 is probably like at this point, that's kind of like your entry level stuff. So I can see that. I mean, I think for $50, I mean, for me not being a bourbon drinker, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I actually do enjoy this a lot.
It's an easy sipper. I mean,
very much
not
so. Goes down very easy.
There's not much heat to it. There's no real like Kentucky hug that people talk about, so it's not really hitting you in your chest.
It's coming in at 90 proof. I don't think we mentioned that.
I did when I read the label. I did, but I mean, I think that's like, you know, we always talk about, you know, we'll do like a little bit of a blind taste test and you try to guess the proof. And this one, I would guess 90, 95. Like it would be like, I don't want to say 80. But I mean, it's definitely, I wouldn't guess 100, 110 or any of that stuff. I mean, it drinks like a 90 proof. It's a little lighter, like you were saying. The viscosity though on the glass, it does have some legs.
On the glass, yeah.
But yeah, you don't really get that a whole lot.
Yeah. They so the way they describe it is the nose is a full, rich aroma of aged oak with deep undertones of vanilla, which those are going to be kind of your very basic common notes on nose or palate. Taste, hint of vanilla and fruit up front, rolls into soft notes of white pepper and a full woody taste, which is that oak I was talking about earlier, like a lot of that wood.
I wouldn't have worded it that way.
A full woody?
Full woody taste. I would not have worded it that way.
Someone's excited though.
That's how excited I get for Calumet. No. I'm going to go on a limb. They just said fruity.
Yes.
I get like a very subtle black cherry sort of finish.
Oh, you're going to say peach.
Black peach.
No, that's you.
I get a black peach. Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
Bruised peach.
I don't know. There's something there.
No, I think you're right. I mean, that when you describe it like that, it you know, the way that I think the brain sometimes works is you say that now it's almost like,
and now you
get the black cherry. I do, at least. And if you did this over a couple ice cubes, you got a little bit of like a cocktail taste to it. You know, it's almost because it got that little, like you're saying, like a black cherry or dark, you know, like that just cherry notes to it. It's I don't, like we both said, it's not very sweet, but as I'm having some more of it, I'm getting more sweetness. Now it could be the cigar bringing it out, because the cigar does have, as I mentioned, kind of like that a dark roast black coffee where it's got the little bit of like the coffee and maybe a little bit of toffee to it. You know, I'm sorry, like cocoa and a little bit toffee to it, but this cigar has a little bit of that black coffee. Slight bitterness, which I think we just had a cigar that I said the same thing about, and it's kind of that richness, but it does have a finish to it. You know, it's an abrupt finish on the cigar that might be bringing out a little bit more of a sweetness as a contrast.
Well, and I tend to get that a lot with broadleaf tobacco. Like you get this kind of dark coffee note, but then on the back end of it, there's kind of this bite.
It's almost like an espresso
of either bitterness or
something like that,
like bitterness or even dryness.
Yeah.
And
espresso is a good way to,
And with this, I think what helps with the pairing is this cigar has a little bit of dryness on that finish.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So when you smoke this, so when you smoke the cigar and then go to the whiskey, it actually makes some of those subtle sweet notes of the whiskey more prominent and stand out when it first hits your palate.
I think we're all dancing around the same kind of concept there that I think.
I like dancing with you boys.
Dancing.
I haven't seen you in a while. I just like to dance with you.
I just want to dance.
I just want to dance.
So how do we think this?
Do
we want to talk anything more? I mean, you know, like we'll talk Alec Bradley a little bit in part one, or no?
I'm sorry, this is your show, right?
Yeah, but you're the guest.
Or the guest of honor.
It's funny, like, hey, look.
I'm looking at
we come in, we talk about the cigar, we talk about the bourbon, we give final thoughts or something. That's at the end. That's why it's called final thoughts.
That's right. Closing remarks. Closing remarks.
Yeah. If I was taking a test in college, I just threw out the gimme answer. Final thoughts should be at the end.
You said the cigar is doing well for you, though.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I mean, I think this has worked well for us because it's strange to divide cigar smokers up into groups. But like, I do think that like this is a cigar that there's a group of people that enjoy, certain types of cigars, and especially with broadleaf being one of those buzzwords.
It's not for everyone, though. I would say that.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah. Alec Bradley, though, I mean, for those that aren't as familiar with Alec Bradley, it's a heck of a portfolio. You work with several factories.
Correct.
You work with different types of tobaccos at said factories, and it's been cool to see where you guys have gone. And just that, for those that aren't as familiar, Alec Bradley, it gets even like there's an autocorrect earlier, I think said Alex Bradley, Alec Baldwin. Yeah, like that.
Alex Baldwin.
That always cracks me up. But
100%.
Alan Rubin started the company with with the intention of, I think it seems, and I think that's what he said when he was on the show, is that kind of with the intent of being open to having it passed down to the next generation, because he did name it after his two boys. Yeah, Alec being the oldest and Bradley being the youngest of the two, and they've been more and more involved with the company and with the products, and it's been cool to see all of that. And the show that we had Alan Rubin on was just that was one of my favorites to my memory, because it was remote when everything was shut down. We had Ryan on there. Nate, were you on the feed?
I was.
Yeah, and we even had some of our regular listeners, Sean and Shannon were on there. Alan was on there, and it really stood out that I forget what the topic was, but it was something that after the fact it was
episode 114.
Yeah.
What was the
topic?
Yeah.
Back to the basics.
That's what it was.
Yeah, because we were right in the middle of all the shutdowns, and I think coming out of it a little bit possibly. What was the date on that?
April 2020.
Yeah.
That was a month after it all started.
So we were like right in the thick of like that initial shutdown. But it was a great episode. Alan's a great conversation. If you guys have an opportunity to meet Alan, Alec, or Bradley, definitely seek it out.
Mustache.
Or Bradley's mustache.
Yeah, if you could meet his mustache,
Bradley and his
better.
Mustache.
Yeah, he does. He rocks that.
He does.
Yeah.
The binder was so the wrapper's the Connecticut broadleaf, and then the binder's the Honduran, or are they both?
No. So they're both
Honduran.
They're both Connecticut broadleaf seed from Honduras.
From Honduras, all right.
And then you also have Nicaraguan in on the binder as well.
Yeah. So what?
So you have a double binder, but the broadleaf is used on
both Honduran.
100%.
No Connecticut.
No, it's yeah. Is there did you guys experiment with a Honduran broadleaf and a Connecticut broadleaf and see and taste a difference? Or
so now, full transparency, I can't speak to that. I would give my speculation on it is, I think there are a lot of companies and blenders, manufacturers out there that are looking at broadleaf, specifically Connecticut broadleaf. And the one thing with that is it can become a very expensive project when you start bringing Connecticut and Pennsylvania broadleaf both.
Yes.
It becomes a very expensive project. So
yeah, broadleaf is not, especially Connecticut. You're right.
It's a premium.
There was the one cigar that we really dove in on. That was the H. Upman 175.
Oh,
that one, I forget what the actual wrapper leaf was, but the way that AJ Fernandez had aged that in the pilones was with broadleaf, Connecticut broadleaf, I think.
It was a 2-to-1 ratio.
And literally, you burned off the broadleaf. It was just he was utilizing it in the step, and it was just no wonder that cigar came in almost $20 because it's just the cost alone of that tobacco.
And I think for a company like us where, traditionally, we're not necessarily out there making the most economic cigars, but I think because we are in that sweet spot category, anything that's going to affect price to take it greater, we do take a lot of pride in the fact that we know anytime that dollar amount starts creeping up, you have to take that project that much more seriously, and you have to be that much more careful, especially if you're not known for doing something like that. And I think right now there's a big trend in the industry where you're seeing a lot of companies reaching for some of these higher price points. Some of them I think are surprising a lot of people with the way that they've been able to make that sort of maneuver and release that product. Now, do I think they could release an entire portfolio like that? Probably not.
No.
I think you have to have your daily grinders, so to speak. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having something, like you said, we have a wide range in our portfolio of flavor, of types of cigars, strength, factories.
Someone asked
origins.
earlier on if Alec Bradley makes any flavored cigars.
So technically, right now, I think we have some flavored cigars out that I would probably I believe they're like sweet tips we do for like the internet. Flavor something that I think with Alan being like heavy on like PCA and stuff like that, I think he sometimes goes back and forth on, is that a market to go after? Is it not a market?
Well, right now
after?
it's not with
right.
the current political climate.
There's a lot of risk. Is there reward involved? Absolutely. But there's definitely a risk involved in that for sure.
We had a question just on the nuts and bolts before we get to this, the rounding out of part one, but Dave Merrick, explain what binder means, and then ... infill. Not sure what he means by the infill, but so the binder
in full,
unless he meant like in the filler. So the three major components of a cigar would be the filler, which is the inside. That's the majority of the tobacco in there. So it's like a recipe. You've got typically like a 6-leaf, depending on the size of the cigar, but like 6-leaf, we talked about it before, but you use different filler tobaccos to basically give a lot of the strength, tweak the flavor, all that stuff. It's part of the recipe. On the outside of the filler, and typically the filler is going to be long filler in the premium cigars, but there's different types of bunching techniques.
Yes.
So that varies a lot of time. There's like the accordion, which is like kind of smashing or like, literally just bunching it. There's the entubado, which is you're doing the rolling of the filler leaves and then bunching them together. So there's different techniques there. On the outside of that, that's the binder. So you basically you bunch all those, then they are literally just rolling the binder leaf. In this case, the binder leaf, and then a secondary binder leaf. And then at that point, it typically goes in the mold. And then after that, it comes back out of the mold.
And then you get your final piece.
You put the outside is what you're seeing on there. And there's all sorts of debates, in my opinion, that I've heard. What gives the cigar more flavor, the wrapper, the binder, the filler? I'm of the opinion that I've heard different answers from different people that have been doing this a long time, and people have different opinions of this. But I would say it's just like anything else. It's the recipe. I mean, like the double binder in this, it's unique to have that. I mean, a lot of cigars have it, but it's interesting with the double binder because you swap out just one of those binder leaves, it changes the flavor.
100%.
It changes the combustion. Again, like, where on the plant is it coming off of? You know what I mean? But yeah, you take one filler leaf out, and it can be the same even like farm, like type of tobacco, but you go from a lower leaf to a middle leaf to a higher leaf. We mentioned Lajero. You're going to change the strength of it. You're going to change the even the flavor profile a little bit. But the binder, to Dave, it's what is underneath the wrapper leaf, and it's just as if like the way they describe it is binder. It's binding it all together.
So fun little thing. If something like that intrigues you, one thing that you can do is a little experiment at home. If you have a cigar, if you have one of the open cutters. Oh, look at that. Do we have a zoom function? Is that what you're doing?
Don't have a zoom.
We don't have a zoom function.
I can make it bigger so we can see it.
We can make it bigger so we can see it.
They can see it.
But if you come in off the foot of the cigar, so that's going to be the typically the open area of the cigar, and you bring that in maybe like a half an inch and just slightly close that guillotine and rotate the cigar, you'll start to score the wrapper. And sometimes, I might have went a little crooked there. Sometimes if you could score it properly, everything's cold, so my sensory of my hands is off a little bit.
Basically, you're going to trim off that little bit of wrapper on the foot.
Correct. And sometimes if you can score it and you don't want to necessarily pull it off, you're afraid you're going to damage it, you can kind of pull it from there, and you can actually pull the wrapper back, and then you can light it up and smoke it, and you can see how much that wrapper actually
We've had a couple cigars where they've had that shaggy foot where it doesn't have that wrapper all the way to the end of the cigar.
And I think you'd be surprised how much flavor.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we've had a couple of those on the show. I think the last one we did was the McFly.
We did it at one of the events. And you can always ask if you got a brick and mortar, if you want to try that, see if there's any. We did it with Oliva at the Tinder Box at Easton. And I think it was just something simple as like one of the core lines. It was either the G or the O. And, actually Josh Bentley was with Oliva at the time, and he went through a box of those and did exactly what you did.
Yeah,
you score it,
100%.
take it off, and then that was the big lesson of the tasting that day was, hey guys, light this up, and then once you get to the wrapper leaf, does it change? How did it change? And then everyone kind of did the hands up, kind of raised, and they.
If you've ever smoked a cigar,
what they got out of it, and how it changed.
If you've ever smoked a cigar where the wrapper kind of cracked or blew up on you and then started to peel off, if you peel that wrapper off, what you're looking at is the binder.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually see that. You can still smoke the cigar. It's not going to taste the same, obviously, because you're missing a part of that recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve, when you talk about having a 6 leaf blend, if you take out that wrapper, you're taking out one of 6 leaves. You're talking about more than 16.5% of the cigar that you're removing.
Yeah, it's going to change the recipe, absolutely. Let's kind of get. We should have a Zoom feature.
That would be cool if we had a Zoom feature.
God damn it! I don't know if StreamYard has it. It probably does. I just don't know.
I like this episode. We've gone to the past. We're talking about the future. The future, possibly with a Zoom. I like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah,
technology.
It's great if you can use it. This is the part one that we go into, and for those that have not seen or listened to the podcast before, part one is the cigar and the whiskey, and a little bit about, especially if we have a guest like Ryan Ponist from Alec Bradley. We talk about a bit of him and the company, and a little bit more in depth. I think we talked a lot about the whiskey tonight. A lot of times when we have a whiskey guest or a cigar guest, we go real heavy on one or the other. This was a nice balance, and this is where in part one we do the rating, and so we give 3 ratings, each of us do. One is the whiskey, which is a Calumet Farm 8-year-old bourbon there, and 10 is the best that you can give. Cigars the same way. That's Alec Bradley, and that's going to be the double broadleaf, which we're smoking tonight. We talked about, and then there's an out of 10 rating for the pairing. How well does it go together? Does it not go well together, and why? So that's the way we round out part one. Then we do a quick intermission on the live. On the audio, you just click over to part 2. And that's more the Beyond the BS part 2. And so we have a topic where we have a conversation with cigars and whiskey. So that's how it works. Ryan, being the guest, what are your ratings, man? Whiskey, cigar, and the pairing.
So I work for Alec Bradley. So take that into effect. That could be weighted. I'm going to say the cigar is a 10. I don't like bourbon, so that score may be weighted. I'm gonna say that's a 7. In my opinion, I feel that's a pretty fair score for a guy that doesn't like bourbon. The pairing I actually think was really good. I would put that at probably like an 8.5. I think this went really well together. I do. I think we were experimenting back and forth on the how the cigar emboldens the bourbon and vice versa.
So it is interesting with that. We've done that on other episodes where it's like, all right, you take like a rest, and then it's smoke the cigar, then go to the bourbon, and then you give it a little bit of rest, take a sip, then go to the cigar. How does that, does it have a similar experience? Is it a different experience? So I agree with you with that. It does actually build off of each other a bit.
Ironically enough, when because we've talked about it in the past episodes, like we had a relationship with Glenfiddich for a long time, still do, but like we got to the point where we had a pairing for literally every expression of Glenfiddich, and Alan came up with those pairings. And when he does any sort of pairings of spirits and cigars, ironically, with the way this turned out tonight, that's kind of how he likes to look at pairings. It's not just about, well, let's take two things and find something that contrasts and emphasizes. He likes that idea of drinking the whiskey and having that influence the taste of the cigar. And then when you go back to the whiskey, the whiskey is then changed. So I think this this might be an Alan Rubin approved one.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Do you think he'd give it a 10, or are you just saying that because every cigar from Alec Bradley is 10?
Would he give the double broadleaf a 10?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to give it a 10. Man. He's going to give it a 10. If it was an Alec and Bradley, might give it a 9.
Give it a 6.
Yeah.
Do better.
Those boys don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Nate, what do you think?
So for the whiskey, I'm actually the same rating as Ryan. I'm a 7 on the whiskey by itself. I made sure had a few sips of it before lighting up the cigar. Definitely came across, very, very oaky, very woody, not a lot of sweetness at the start of it. By comparison, like I've had the 16, absolutely love that bottle. Two totally different price points though.
Yeah.
But no, the only thing I didn't care for about the 8-year is it just didn't seem to have like that rich depth of flavor.
Sure. Absolutely.
It was very, very light in terms of the flavor, and then just a lot of wood, a lot of oak notes. Still a good whiskey, especially if you're someone who likes that oak flavor. So 7 on the whiskey. The cigar, I'm an 8 on the cigar. I think it's a very,
10.
I think it's a very enjoyable cigar.
Sign his checks.
No.
Give me back the cigar. What's left of it?
Continue.
Doesn't matter. Still taking it.
He'll give it to someone who doesn't know. I will say I like it more in this Corona Gorda, which is like a traditional Churchill 7x48, than when I first smoked it in the chunk.
Yeah.
I actually get more. I get more flavor from this size than I did the chunk, which to me is a little interesting because something else that you guys do in that chunk was the Magic Toast.
Correct.
And with that one, I actually get more flavor in that chunk size than I do some of the others. This one, when the Tinder Box Easton got in the double broadleaf chunk, I was almost kind of expecting that same thing to happen, but it was actually backwards. I get more flavor out of this size than I did the chunk. And then the pairing, I'm in agreement with Ryan. I'm an 8.5 on the pairing. I think these two go better together than they do individually.
I heard that.
Well, but a very similar thing happened when we did the Kintsugi. We had the Kintsugi with one of my favorite whiskeys, not necessarily a 10 whiskey, but still one of my favorites. But the flavors between those two, I thought went so well together that the pairing for me on that episode was a 10 because they complement each other so well. The dryness that I get with this cigar having that Honduran and the broadleaf, it lends its way to taste more of those sweeter notes in the whiskey.
Yeah.
So it kind of elevates the whiskey a little bit.
Elevate.
It's nice. Nice. Very nice, gentlemen. For me, the whiskey, I'll give it an 8 for the price point there. $50 average price point anymore. I think this is easy sipper.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're getting all the depth, and again, like I think Nate with this particular one, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but you're coming off of a good chunk of that Calumet 16 gone out of that bottle. Not tonight, but
I have shared.
I know you have. I'm just saying, like you compare it to, what within the same line, a Calumet 8 at 49, and then the 16's 150, right?
That'd be like
160 or 150.
But
But
it'd
be like a fine and rare.
you think it'd be double because of the years? It doesn't work like that.
Just because of the theme.
No, I got the theme. I know. Double broadleaf, double. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm following along. I'm just saying. So I think for what it's worth, it's an 8. If this was a $150 bottle, that price would come into play for me on that one. So
Absolutely.
8 on that. The cigar 8 also. I give the
Double
cigar
8,
an 8.
yeah.
Double 8. Jesus, I didn't mean that.
So his pairing's going to be a 16.
That's right. That's right. 16 on the pairing.
No, the pairing, I'm 8s across the board. I think this is nice. This cigar, as we've gotten into it a little bit more, had some more of the whiskey. I agree with you guys that we talked about. Brings out the sweetness of it. But depending on going back and forth, sometimes I think the cigar gets a little more bitter and dry coming off of the whiskey. So that's why it's a good pairing. But I think, with this whiskey, thinking of the Alec Bradley portfolio, including the Alec and Bradley portfolio, I would go Tempest Nicaragua. I would go Kintsugi. I would go with more of a little bit of a lighter medium, a little bit lighter flavor notes, more, not as punchy with the cigar. So I think that if you were going to do the Calumet, and I get what you're saying, that the experience is there. So you said it's Alan Rubin probably approved. But I think if you were doing something that was just going to be I'm going to go back to it. I'd pull something else out of the portfolio to go with this bottle, I would think. So,
All
yeah.
right.
And with that being said, that's part one. Thanks to our sponsors, you guys, patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast, and also Venmo at Bourbon and BS. And then also Tinder Box at Easton, where you can find the Alec Bradley line, including the double broadleaf. Right now, only in the Toro size, but check that out for sure. Alec Bradley will also be participating in the Smoking 10 event, which is coming up March 18th in Columbus,
2 months
Ohio.
from today.
2 months from today.
I'll be there.
You will be there.
I will be there.
You, and then also Jake, who is our current rep.
He's the rep.
He is the and Nate will the other Nate will be there
All the
as
Nates
well.
will be there.
All the Nates will be there working.
Double Nates.
Oh, Jesus.
Double Nates.
God.
We'll have double Nates there.
Really on that, are we?
Oh, why couldn't that
So yeah,
be
Smoking 10 event.
incorporated
Stay
into the topic?
tuned. We'll share it on the Bourbon BS community page as well. But it's Smoking 10 event, March 18th. Save the date. Tickets should be going on sale next week at some point with all the details and who's coming and all that good stuff. So we got some good surprises and potential ones to add to that as we get closer to the event. So may not release all the details, but definitely worth your time. And like I said, Alec Bradley will be featured there. And we're going to be featuring one that we were going to feature in 2020 from Alec Bradley, which is the Gatekeeper, which we just recently reviewed on the show. So that's a chance to try that as one of the many cigars you're going to get at the 10 event. And also Altadis USA. Like I said, we have some Romeos in the garage here. They are a great sponsor of the show, longtime sponsor of the show. So thank you, Altadis USA, for the support, and also Be a Cigar Company. And if you like the swag or any swag, buyjack.com/Bourbon and BS for any of the shirts, hoodies like Nate's got on.
Yeah.
I also have on one of the t-shirts, Focus on the Silver Lining.
Oh, nice. Classic.
Double BS shirts.
And Ryan will be here for part 2 as well. So
Double
something
Ryan.
to look for. God damn it. All right. Anyways, guys, thank you. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Stay tuned for part 2. We're going to do a quick intermission on the live. Click over to part 2.
Oh, no. Okay.
I think it's you.
It's me. It's you and me. It's over.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Sean Anderson says need tank tops. Okay, maybe.
I always try and do the clink with the bell of the glass.
Yeah, we're still live, but yeah, it's intermission.
We're live.
Welcome, guys.
I just love the look on your face. Like, who the fuck?
It's the other Nate and Jess.
Yeah. Got a live audience now.
It went from who is? Oh god.
No, it's great having you guys here. It's just you never know who's
It's
gonna
like,
be.
is it Sean? Is it Shan? Oh, okay.
You guys, we haven't seen you in a while in the garage, so thank you. Sorry it's cold, but
You should get an applause sign that lights up, and I think it would be funny on the episodes where you don't have a live audience if you still just
All
laugh
your
at me.
computers are dead finally.
no, I got a propane tank in the back. We just
You got a fan.
Toughen it out.
toughen it out. Next week we'll have the heater on for sure.
Fans in the garage, that's good.
Yeah, we turn the fans on if you'd like.
I mean, we both worked. I was just like, we're so close.
Ah, happy to see it. Jess, you look thrilled.
Maybe if you turn the fan on and aimed it towards the door to keep the cold air out.
I don't think that's gonna work.
That's pretty much science, baby.
It's gonna suck out all the heat.
Perfect. Just open that, turn the heater on, the furnace
I
up.
see 2 more fans. Like, we could get this to
Just-
80 degrees just by blowing the
just
cold
throw-
air out, right?
I think that's how it works.
That's how it works.
It's not how it works. Got some questions for you guys in part 2.
It's great to be
And they're
back.
really basic. It is good to have you back.
Did I say it's great to have you back?
I just want to see what they're.
It's great to have you back.
It's great to have you back.
It's got to be your bull.
That's Calumet 8.
Mm.
If you went to 16, which is double the
And it's funny. We've had both Alan and Ruben
Alan
at
Ruben.
Steve's house after a 10 eventer on the podcast.
Alec and Bradley.
Or, I'm sorry, Alec and Bradley. Yeah. And probably not going to have them back at the
Yeah, if you want to grab a
house 'cause
couple glasses, whatever. Yeah.
We do got to get Bradley back.
they-
I don't think he's been back to one. We got to get back.
No. Oh yeah, that's the original
12
bottles.
still there.
This used to be like that.
Yeah,
It's not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebranded.
Rebranded to make you think it's way better.
Ray Cheshire, yes, it is cold here.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's really not.
Just
Kind of cool.
I did have a coworker feature or gift me a few years ago a Calumet 12,
okay.
and it was in that old
The old
short
bottle.
lighter bottle. No, actually, this is when we were talking about Steve doing a blind taste test.
Mhm.
A gentleman I was talking to on Monday who runs a wine and liquor store was talking about that they'd done a kind of like a March Madness bracket with bourbons that they feature in their store, and it was double blind. So the people tasting didn't know what the pairings were, and the person pouring didn't know what the pairings were as well. And he didn't tell me who ended up winning, but he did say that Blanton's didn't make it past, or they made it to the Sweet 16, and that was it. That was as far as it went.
It's a little overpriced for the value.
But no, they didn't. But they didn't know what they were sipping on.
You have an outhouse?
They didn't know what they were sipping on. But Blanton's made it to the Sweet 16, and that was about as far as it went.
Interesting.
No.
So this is the 8.
This is the 8-year. This was the bottle Steve picked up for the podcast.
That's what we're featuring tonight.
The 16-year. The 16-year is the bottle that the owner of the Tinder Box gifted to me.
Yes.
But it was funny when
Pretty good flavor. Oh, yeah.
when the owner of the Tinder Box, every year he likes to give his staff bottles for Christmas presents, and he had brought in a few bottles, and he's like, "Hey, go pick out a bottle," and I was like, "All right," and I'm looking, and the first 2 bottles that I looked at were both ryes, which I love ryes. He knows I love ryes, and he's like, "Actually, grab the one in the back," which was the Calumet 16. He goes, "Grab that one. You take that one." I was like,
You actually
okay.
Some rep came in like, he's like, here's a bottle for Nate. And I was in there. I was like, oh, that's me. I'll take that. I'm out. Let me go to work. He didn't give it to me though. That's sad.
Okay. Yes, Ray Cheshire, it is a little cold. It is in the 30s here, but we do not have one of the propane heaters running.
Hey. Hey. It's Steve.
Charlie Creekmore says, get Ryan a beanie or ski cap. He kind of looks like he might need one.
I don't want to interrupt the look of the wet bandits here.
We're not the wet bandits. We're the sticky bandits.
Sticky bandits. Yeah. Double beanies.
Double what?
Double beanies. Somebody said I need a beanie.
That's right.
I don't think I have a beanie in the car.
I can get you one that matches Nate.
Steve, I was going to see if you wanted to just finish your glass and have a pour of that 16.
Wouldn't mind it.
I just want like a little taste of the 16.
And then Steve just shoots what he had left in the glass.
I thought you just threw the glass on the ground. I was like,
Another.
Steve knows how to party. Like, like,
His house, my house. Yeah, I will take that, and then we'll get started with part 2 here.
I will not let the 8 ruin the 16.
I just need a taste on it.
Good?
Are you good?
I'm good.
You good? You good?
Taster?
Got the
Yeah,
fisherman's sweater?
that's more than fun. Like,
You got the fisherman's
you
sweater?
guys are the ones on stream. Don't pull me on camera. I don't want to be.
As he walks up to the
Just knocks over the table.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I shared that bottle with my dad when he came over a few weeks ago, and because it's something he hasn't had, and he was talking about a bottle he wanted to try, which I actually had in my bar. So after we finished our first pour of the 16 year, I was like, "Hey, do you want another pour? Do you want to try that one that you said you want to buy a bottle of?" He goes, "No, I want to keep drinking your bottle." I'm like, he specifically said, "I want to keep drinking your $150 bottle." It's like,
Sounds right.
all right.
Smart man.
That's fair.
Thankfully, he didn't ask to drink the $300 bottle.
Is my volume levels better now?
Oh, wow. That's much different. Can just have a little taster.
Sure, Jess, bring your glass up
There
here.
we go. Oh, that's got a lot more depth.
A
Mm-hmm.
lot of depth.
That was a lot darker.
See another one.
Another
Double the depth.
double the depth. All right. You guys ready for part 2 here?
Double your pleasure, double your fun.
You tell me.
Holy shit.
That's a lot different.
Oh, I like it.
That's a world of difference.
I prefer Irish over bourbon. God damn,
I'm going to hide that
Yeah, you should
bottle
probably
now.
put that one away.
I'm not gonna first. Maybe second. Ask for forgiveness.
All right. Ready?
When you are, buddy. It's your show. It's you guys' show. Tell me what we're doing. I just keep looking at you guys.
Shut up.
Been here so long.
Shut
so I
up.
just keep looking at you.
Stop talking.
Hold on, let's get my game face on.
Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 254, part 2, Beyond the BS. We are still rolling live in the garage with Ryan Ponist from Alec Bradley Cigars. We've established that it's been well over a year since he's been in the garage and possibly Ohio.
It's been over 2.
I've been to Ohio.
All right. Oh, that's nice.
I saw you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Just not here.
Just not here. Not on the show. So happy to have him back. He has kind of not moved on, but,
Moved up.
He's gotten
Passed away. like, could you pick
Not
up a
moved.
stranger word?
He's moved on. It's good memory. So, no, it's good to see Ryan.
Ride the cigar guy.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, on Instagram. Always good to have him on. He's done great things in the industry and in a relatively short amount of time, I feel like. Even though
Are you segueing into a question right now?
No, not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
okay.
No,
All right.
no,
Well,
no,
thank
no.
you.
No, I just feel like, yeah, I was just kind of pumping you up here.
I wasn't sure. I was like,
You've
is
done
this,
well.
Is this a genuine compliment or is this all part of the banter of
It's
part 2 of
It's a little
Beyond
bit
the
of
BS?
both.
A
No,
little bit of both.
so
He's
no,
setting you up.
Thank you. All right.
I just, it's tougher and tougher to come up with the different topics. And now, there we go. Now it's working. But so this one is some really basic questions, and it's it's from a post from another podcast that I really like, Ed Milet. And not to steal his thunder or anything like that. He doesn't listen. No one's really listening, so it doesn't really matter. But Ed Milet has a podcast. He's a very successful individual, but he has this as a morning gratitude exercise, right? So he asks himself 7 questions. And so I'm just going to throw it out to you guys, and hopefully you don't just give me one-word answers. Expand on the answers if you would.
No promises.
But this is something that he says, and you guys can take it for what it's worth. Kind of answer it yourself. If you guys are listening on the feed, go ahead and throw your answers up on the comments, and I can definitely get them up on the screen. And if you want to talk a bit further through the comments, we can definitely share them with everyone. But it is.
Yeah, let's do it.
Questions for the panel and you. Question number 1. These are very, very basic questions because, again, this is something that he does
Very
apparently
Every morning.
in the morning. Yeah, to kind of just stay on task in his life. But number 1, what am I happy about? Ryan?
You're going to start with me?
That's right.
I have to think about that
No,
question. That is
no.
not a gut.
Fire from the hip.
That is not a gut. What am I happy about? I'm happy to be here right now
Okay.
with friends
Okay.
in a place enjoying cigars and actually enjoying a bourbon, which I typically don't do. Yeah, I mean, that's it, really. I mean, I was joking around when we were live, but not live, not part of the segment. Like,
Sure.
I feel like I've been like looking back and forth between you guys rather than looking at the camera, just
Yeah.
because like
You can
Just
see us
speak.
on the
Just
camera,
speak
too.
into the mic.
I
That's all
can't
that
see them,
matters.
but it's not you, and it's not them. They're behind that, but I can't see them. But point being,
You talking about them?
no, they're right there. I can see them.
Oh.
But no, seriously,
about the audience.
it's I think it's one of those things like we were talking, you and I were having a conversation a little earlier about like, what am I doing? And you said like somebody asked about me or whatever, and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, sometimes I get the impression like he misses what he was doing before, and like, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I think you can. I think it's part of the human spirit that we look back at most things, and we always try to find like the best parts of them, or that idea of you don't know what you have till it's gone. I am happy in my role right now, but like at the same time, like when you go to doing something like remote work, which I know a lot of people are very happy to be doing remote work, and great for you if it works for you and your lifestyle. But that is the one thing that I do miss is like not walking into these stores all the time. And not just that, is as fun as it is to start a new relationship with somebody, like, not being able to go into like the shops where you have that established relationship and you want to do that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm happy about. I'm happy to be here right now with you guys. As cheese dick as that sounds.
I mean, these are the questions. So
These
I
are the
mean,
questions.
that's really nice.
Nate, take it away.
Nate, go.
No, I'm happy that some things have changed at work. Taking on some more things, which is something I've been asking for a while. Taking on a special project. It's kind of bad when it takes you when it takes a Fortune 200 company 7 months to come up with a solution for a what seems like a very simple problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, all right, you get to fix it. It's like, all right, I'll take it on. and thankfully, they're just kind of letting me do that on my own. No one's really doing a daily or weekly check-in. They're just like, yep, do what you can. And still discovering issues with that. So, discovering issues, being the one responsible to reach out when there are problems to it, but also getting some of these ongoing issues resolved. It's like that's what I've been looking for a while. So I'm finally, interesting time. Like that's coming on while there's also a prospect of moving on.
Yeah.
At the same time. So
happy about your career and where it could go, basically.
Yeah. Find out more tomorrow, see where things go.
Yeah.
Make a decision and, see what happens. But I'm excited at least for the opportunity, even if that one doesn't work, if it's not what I need or what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
The fact that it's being offered to me.
Sure.
Because over the course of the last year, I've been told no a lot. And this is someone who's
in
actually
this arena, right? Like, looking for
in terms of looking for a move, to other work. Like I've had a lot of no's over the last year, and this is one that's been a yes, but it's contingent on numbers.
Yeah.
So, but there was a part of me that when I got the information, I was excited, like, holy shit, like I actually got if I want it, it's mine.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Happy for the opportunity. That's good.
That's awesome.
And I think this is something just with these questions, again, the mindset. And again, I like it because even if it is something that you don't do every morning, but what you're happy about right now, if you ask yourself tomorrow, would it be the same thing? Month from now, next time, Ryan is on the podcast, 2 years from now, would he be saying the same answers? I'm just like, that's how, when you first ask yourself, you're really kind of like searching for something to say. I think if you do ask yourself every day, every morning, every week, even, I think that you'll see some similarities that you're happy with, but it will also maybe kind of frame, well, I'm still like searching for, it doesn't have to be a different answer every morning.
So I'm blanking on it. This actually reminds me of a practice that I have adopted.
Okay.
And it's kind of the same, but the opposite. And what it is, it's, I believe it's like Tibetan monks do this thing. I can't remember the exact name of it. It's whenever they go to bed, they like, it's something like, I know the key word is bathe. I think it's like they bathe in positivity.
I was like,
and yes, they bathe when they go to bed.
I do that too most days.
But the idea of it is, when you think about what you do, and I think it's easy to imagine that a lot of us do this, when you're done with your day and you lay down on the bed and you put your head on the pillow, typically a lot of people are normally concerned about something that they did or something that they have to do the next day.
Can't turn the brain off.
And the idea is, rather than focusing on what has to be done or something that you wish you did better, it's the idea of like going back and finding a moment that you can be proud of in that day.
Yeah.
And there's something about
very
that
similar there, the mindset, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think if you do it more often, and I'm not saying that I'm going to, or, anyone has to do that, but
absolutely.
The idea is the more you do it, the easier it comes, because even with that mindset, that you're asking the questions again the next morning. So you're kind of framing your mind of, I'm going to have to answer myself tomorrow morning, or the next time I ask these questions myself. I do want to also put up a couple of these here. Sean Anderson, we'll see if he answers the rest of these questions. Sean's been on the show before. He says, most happy that I've managed to dodge the demons yet again, though I am feeling like I'm running out of luck where that is concerned. So happy, but with a little bit of a mindset of, kind of for how long can he hold on to like the happiness and peace right now. So again, different perspective. Lou out there, he's been on the podcast remotely with Josh Bentley, happy to wake up each morning. So again, some would consider very basic stuff. Some people that have, I'm not speaking for Lou, I think it's a great mentality. I think that also is something that it depends on the person's story. If you've had health concerns, if you've had some, things like even what Sean's saying, the demons and things that are really kind of bringing you down, that is something that comes across so simple, but it can also be very, very complex. So that's neat. Charlie Creekmore is throwing up music verses here. You don't know what you got till it's gone. They take paradise and put up a parking lot. So
that was what I said.
Yeah.
He songed it.
Yeah, that's a lyric. Yeah. That's the lyric. I
did say that.
I know. Just
thanks, Charlie. Stealing my thunder.
Trying to bring him in here.
Charlie, you're good. It's fine.
For me, I'm what am I happy about? I'd say today it's just bigger picture, happy for being healthy, happy that, that all those things, wake up in the morning, have good friends, being able to do this. I'm employed. Some of the basics, in my opinion, that aren't always basics for a lot of people, but almost take things for granted. But I'm happy to have a good job, career going, good time of the year. We're getting ready for the big event, and just people in my life. I'm happy that I'm in a healthy relationship and enjoying that, keeping up with old friends, some new friends, but just to have people that have been a part of my life for a long time. Next Sunday, so just in a few days, getting together with a lot of just high school friends that I've known for years, but we have everyone's kind of gone separate ways, all local, but kids, all this stuff. And one of them sent out a group message to certain group of us, and it was, hey, does anyone want to get together, all the kids, whoever, just to go bowling on Sunday? And so, we might have 20 to 30 people there. So stuff like that, I'm really I'm happy that I've been able to maintain not only a healthy, romantic relationship in the last year, but also just keep my head on straight and be open to getting together with old friends, new friends, and just all of that stuff.
When was the last time you hung out with someone from high school?
Well, like my buddy Big Rob, he was at one of my last cookouts.
Okay.
So that for sure. Yeah. Other than that, just some random friends, but not on a regular basis. So, all right. Question number 2. You guys are welcome to grab the mic too. What am I excited for? So what am I happy about? What am I excited for?
Well,
Nate, I know you kind of roll into that.
I've kind of alluded to it. I have a job opportunity that company wants to offer me a role, and I'm excited for what that role can do or what it can lead to in the future. A little excitement, also a little nervousness.
Sure.
Because it's a completely different type of environment, going from a Fortune 200 company to a smaller business that's, local. So there's, numbers are going to be an issue. And I understand that. That's something that my wife and I have already had those talks, like what's an acceptable, range or number.
Yeah.
But I'm at least excited that at this point, the decision whether or not to go forward with that is entirely up to me.
Okay. So you're excited about that opportunity that you're happy about also.
Yes. A lot of, for the last year, it's always been up to other people whether or not I get the opportunity. This is something that they want to make me an offer. Right. And, now it's up to me whether or not to accept or decline. And, if I decline, I stay where I'm at.
Okay. Ryan, how about you? What are you excited about? Or what are you excited for?
I'm excited for the year to get rolling here. It was a nice little break for me. Got to see some family, sort of on the same level like you were talking about. I have 2 guys I consider my best friends. One guy I probably haven't seen in 6 years. The other guy I probably haven't seen outside of a funeral, I haven't seen him in 2 months.
Yeah.
So that was something we got together and we're like, we got to make sure we make this a more regular thing, which is good. I'm excited for, the fact that it's been busy getting stuff going with work and it means more travel and filling the calendar up with stuff like that. It's getting back in the swing of things. I think, anytime that there's that inkling that you can keep something positive going and you feel like you're building momentum, I think that's something that you can be excited for.
Sure. I like
what
that.
About you, Steve?
Well, before I answer, I do want to bring
we
Sean, who's listening here, he's excited for watching my youngest daughter discover the world. And then Lou actually has a similar, I think, outlook here, watching my grandchildren make their mark in this world. So they're excited for the next generation, to the people that are in their life, their kids, their grandkids. They're excited to see where that goes. I think that's a nice idea, nice sentiment there, where it's not always about what you got going on. It's sometimes you're excited for other people and the potential there. So I like that. Potential. What am I excited for? Some similar things. I'm excited for bowling. I'm excited to get together with some old friends. I'm excited for in a similar way with you, Ryan. Again, I mentioned the Smoking 10 event. We're our 10th time doing it.
That was my original answer. I knew you were going to say that, so I changed it.
But yeah,
they didn't hear you.
I'm excited, just to it's long term. I know this is like kind of just what I'm thinking about with the current weather. I'm excited for warmer weather. I'm excited for a lot of times. I don't always want to, and if I was answering this every day or every morning, I wouldn't have the same answer, but I'm excited for, I've got a vacation plan in April. I'm excited for that. I'm excited the fact that I'm able to do that again. And again, it's nice to have things to look forward to. So that's what I'm excited for right now. Number 3, what am I proud of?
See, look at that. Everything's comes full circle.
There we go.
Double question about what are you proud of? We're seeing the doubles.
Were you happy? Now it was excited. Now what am I proud of? Ryan, back to you. Let's just kick it right back down the table here.
What am I proud of? I'm proud of that comment that you gave me when we started this, when you're like, oh, Ryan, doing stuff in the industry, did a lot in a short time.
Oh, I thought when you walked in, I said you look great, and you said like an absolute defeatist answer.
I am very proud of that.
You basically said fuck off.
I'm actually more proud that I told you, and this is 100% legitimate thought, that I had already rehearsed that in my head several times, knowing you would say that when I walked in the door.
I'm proud of the fact that I have that reputation with you, that you think I'm going to give you a compliment when you walk in.
I love that you're a ray of sunshine in my life, Steve Crane. And
I don't get that very often.
Happy, and I want to hear you read more bottles. That's what I'm happy for. I want to hear you read the back of more bottles of Calumet and not talk about bourbon.
Learn about horses,
but yeah, like seriously, like I think I think that's one of those things where sometimes we just get caught up doing stuff that you forget to take appreciation and things like that. And it was interesting when you said that. Like I was like, never really thought about it that way. But
the comment that you originally said was that you've gone along, like you've done a lot in a short period of time.
That was cool. Like I appreciated that. I really did. So like I think that was something where it was like, oh yeah, I guess he kind of has a point there. So yeah, that's awesome.
Someone's paying attention to Ryan Ponist in this world,
and it was Ryan Ponist.
No, it was me on that one.
It was you.
Nate, how about you?
What I'm proud of?
Yes. What am I proud of?
I mean, kind of the same thing that I talked about on the last question. I mean, I'm proud of the fact that I represented myself in a way that an industry that I've never truly worked in is willing to give me an opportunity. And what was really interesting when I've had the multiple conversations is when I was telling this person about my experiences and what I've done and what I feel I'm good at, the person told me that they were actually excited because this would allow me to focus on a part of that business that doesn't have 100% focus on right now, because there's just, there's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle that they work in. And even though my background is not the same background as the person who just left that position or other people within that company that have had that position, like that person still sees a value in what I bring to the table that's different than what they've had before.
Sure.
So even though I don't have the same experience or knowledge as other people that have done that role, there's still something about me that makes that, that employer excited for what could be.
Yeah. That's good. Twofold on this one. I think what I'm proud of is
Double fold.
Double proud.
Double fold.
It is the people around me. It's really cool to see that. Nate, with you doing this or getting into this opportunity, however it pans out, but I'm proud of the fact that you've stuck with it, because knowing you for several years now, especially doing this show, is, you've had those opportunities, and you said you've been told no, you've had some setbacks, but you stuck with it. So I'm proud of people like you in my life. I'm proud of my girlfriend starting a new job and moving on with her career for the better of her potential, and also for her mental health too, because it was just the old position was just beating her up. So being able to have the strength to do that, Ryan, again, I can go down the list here, Ryan, with the fact that, although I miss having you as our rep, and I consider you a friend, not seeing you as much, but the fact that you have, again, like I said, and what you just brought up, is that, to see you do so much in a short period of time. I mean, the people in that I interact with in the 10 years I've been in this industry, to see the growth in other people. Another one, Jake Sanders, who was the co-founder of this show, he has been on a journey as well in his career, and I'm proud to be his best man coming up in his wedding, and I'm proud that he just, to see, again, big career moves. Now he's doing sales rep for Crowned Heads, which is another cigar company. So to see that, I like that a lot. And then, Nate, you kind of brought up this in my head as you were saying it, but I'm proud of, and people still joke about it, but of my focus mantra. I'm proud of that. I like to see Facebook memories from fucking 2013, where I was checking in and using that same kind of focus check-in almost 10 years ago, just to see that the consistency there. And even today, I mean, the last year or so, last 6 months, I don't think I was doing a whole lot of things differently, but I think I kind of did not have all of my levels in check of everything. And I've kind of really, again, refocused on that. And today I was just in the last couple weeks, I don't know, maybe the scale was broken at the gym, but I mean, I was back down. I was feeling leaner and all that stuff. And I'm like, it's probably just my head, but I was down 5 pounds. And not that I think I want to get super lean again, but just to be able to do that. And, I was floating around 229, 230, and now it's 224, 225. Could have just been, I could be a meal away that I'm back up to 230, but that kind of stuff I'm proud of.
Or a bottle of whiskey away.
Bottle of whiskey away. Yeah. Tonight. Weigh myself tomorrow. It's fuck you. 231.
Now, I felt when you said you look good today, and I liked it. I came in, looked at this camera, and saw I had this Kool-Aid Stay Puft marshmallow thing going on. I was like, this camera doesn't lie. Steve does. That's
fucking terrible, man.
No, we're back at it.
It's a new camera. It's not the best.
I get it.
Number 4. What am I grateful for?
I feel like this is all the same thing, really.
Is it?
You know what I mean? Don't you Freud me and sit back in the chair is it the same?
Is it, Ryan?
Is it the same?
What are you grateful for?
I don't know. I got to come up with a different answer now. I feel like
got a little pressure. Yeah, you got to think it. Maybe.
I do think it's the same thing. I got to find something to be grateful for. No, I mean, again, and it's interesting. I almost wonder if sort of like you're talking about, does everything change day to day? And you look at the way cards get dealt in life and stuff like that. And I think it's interesting. If I wasn't here at this exact moment, and I was at home and I was asking myself these questions, would my answers be different? And the idea is like doing this is a group exercise and hearing you guys say stuff like the idea of like
brings out a little honesty.
No, not even that. Like it's just like there is, I think almost like the questions are led, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like, you know, something that I would be grateful for. It's grateful for, you know, having a position, you know, I'm not even going to say a job, but having an opportunity, you know, where I've been able to travel and meet people like yourself and to know that there's places where I could go and, you know, there's a friendly face there, and to see those relationships and have those. And, you know, the fact that I haven't done this in 2 years apparently, and I could just
like
walk
riding
back
a bike.
in.
2.5.
We're right there. 2.5 years, half years. Yeah, I mean, that's something to definitely be grateful for. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't have those opportunities, you know, where even in their hometown, let alone to be able to travel to another city, another state.
Yeah, and plus you get to see other places.
Yeah,
Lou says he's grateful for family and friends who have shared the journey with him. It's nice.
That is nice. I have this little saying.
What's your little
saying? If you
saying?
got friends, you always got family. But if you have family, it doesn't necessarily mean you have friends.
Vin Diesel said that, right?
Yeah, family.
Dominic Toretto said that.
I laughed.
A wise man.
What he was saying.
Wise
You
man
know, to the
once
layman's, this is what he was saying. But you know,
A wise man once
there's a lot
said
of depth to it.
in almost 10 movies.
I'm gonna throw you off your game. What are you grateful for, Steve? Because you were gonna go to Nate. I'm gonna go to you. What do you got? You can't craft your answer based on us.
So that's fine. That's fine. No, I'm take this step back. You guys, I'm grateful you guys came by.
That's a cop out.
Should have used that one.
Guys, be good. Be
Great.
safe. Thanks for stopping by.
You're grateful that peach Celsius wore out by the time I took that bourbon.
Still have some. No, I'm going to take this one real kind of, again, what some people take for granted. I'm grateful in this current climate we're in. I'm grateful that I already, I own a house. I have a roof over my head. Not as grateful for all the bills that come along with that, but, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity of having my own home. You know, everyone, to your point, you know, you see all different types of parts of the country and everything else with the travel, but, you know, people in, you know, Ohio get dogged on, you know, all that time, you know, because it's not the most exciting area, not nice. I'm grateful for just a steady house. I'm employed. I've got, you know, an income that, you know, again, it's nothing wild and just extravagant lifestyle, but again, for me to have some resets in my life between, you know, personal relationships and otherwise, I'm grateful that you know, the way that things have worked out for me, that, you know, being in that relationship I've been in for the last year with Kristen, but even before that, I'm really grateful for the fact that I have a level of steadiness without having an overwhelming level of either boredom or frustration. It's kind of I'm more at peace with things. And I'd say if I was to bring up a drawback of that is that I have to, like my last answer about the focus and having to kind of refocus and sometimes I get in that rut. I think everyone does, but I mean, you know, if my rut is having a nice, you know, bed to sleep in, my own place, my dog and all this, like I'm truly grateful for that. Just for a little bit different angle on that is, you know, yeah, I'm grateful for my friends and family and all that stuff, but just that,
sure.
If I had to pick something. Nate, how about you?
I'm grateful that I have someone in my corner who has motivated me to keep going after something I want to do. And now with this opportunity possibly coming up, whether I take it or not, that person is still going to be proud of the fact that I at least went for it. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but they'll still be there pushing me and encouraging me, you know, to actually do something I want to do, or do something that at least makes me happier than where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing to say about Steve.
think
Steve's done that,
the vagueness
but
is not. I took that a different way. It was not about me, but
no.
Sean Anderson says it's odd, but I'm very grateful for my understanding of people and the world, so I can use that to help folks I know succeed in the world. That's great. I like that. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else that wants to share any of these answers? And I think I'm going to tomorrow. I'll put these up on the community page and everything, and see if we can get some feedback from people there.
That is dramatically different.
You got the 16 year.
Yeah. There was like a thing when people were getting COVID, like supposedly if you took an orange and you burned it on the stove. I think that does that. I think
so. It's
a
little bit too much for you.
It's yeah. I mean, he knew.
Yeah.
He just
It's double the depth.
Thank you for sharing. Double the depth. Double the oranges.
Next question, number 5.
peach.
What am I currently enjoying? I'd say what Ryan's not enjoying as much as the new pour of whiskey.
The repetitiveness of these questions.
Oh, okay.
No.
Again, this is something. Yeah, we are forcing a little bit more conversation out of it. Again, the exercise I think that I enjoy out of this is if things are going well, these questions could be repetitive, right? But it's like if you're asking yourself every day, what am I currently enjoying? I mean, it's just like I'm currently enjoying my new hobby. I'm enjoying working out. I'm enjoying, trying new foods. Like simple things like that. There is a bit of repetitiveness, but if you don't have necessarily like the best mindset right now, or you're dealing with whether it be depression or just a tough position in a relationship or a job, these are the questions that hopefully will at least get you back on track.
I just like that I'm getting Steve to defend this exercise. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm pulling your leg. Easy.
Ryan, what are you currently enjoying? Not this question.
Stop
Not
being
this
so
exercise.
negative. Yeah, I like how many times I've been able to flip that around. Stop being so negative, Steve. What am I currently enjoying?
Yeah, listeners might be like, okay, I'll listen next week. This is enough of the questions, I guess.
No. Like I said, I like it. It's similar to something I do at night. So I guess I won't have to do it tonight because I already did it 7 times apparently. What am I currently enjoying?
I want you to look in the mirror when you ask these questions.
I'm enjoying a new experience, and I think and that experience is this Calumet bourbon. And it sounds stupid, but what I mean by that is the fact that I would have never drank this if it wasn't for the fact that I was on this podcast.
Sure.
And I think that's something cool is the fact that I enjoy the fact that I trust my friends enough that they weren't going to poison me.
You haven't finished that class yet.
Yeah. But I think there's something to that. New experiences made easy through camaraderie and friendship and sharing the interests of other people.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing this for, what was it, 143? Is that how many episodes we're on?
254.
This is 254.
So again, if we were playing Price is Right rules, I would have got it. But
in 4 weeks, we'll mark our 5th anniversary.
there you go. You got to do something special.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you guys clearly enjoy this hobby of drinking bourbon and smoking cigars and asking repetitive questions, and I get to share it with you. And I love that. It makes me so happy. And
I like
share it with the
Charlie's
crowd.
answer.
Currently enjoying you guys for the Wednesday Night Ritual. Listening to Steve, Note, Ryan.
Nate.
Oh, Note. I was like, I thought he was going to
That
say Note, Ryan's an asshole. Note, Ryan enjoying the Alec Bradley Prensado cigar. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I'm enjoing that he's enjoying that.
There you go. Nate, what are you currently enjoying?
The Alec Bradley double broadleaf.
Are you double enjoying it?
Well, it is my second one
Oh, then you are.
because we had the Grand Current, and then this is the
You're
Robusto.
on the double.
I'm enjoying. There's a little bit of fear with it too, but I'm enjoying the unknown with this potential opportunity.
Okay, I like
That's
that.
deep. Double deep.
I don't
Depth.
because
Double depth.
when you read emails or text messages, you can add
You
your
insinuate.
yes, you can take something and twist it to mean what's going on with you, and it may not be what that person meant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I hate Teams or Messenger or any of that stuff, because it's very easy for people to misconstrue something from what you meant to how they took it. But that could be influenced by what's going on in their life. You could say something that is not negative whatsoever, but if they're having a bad day, they're going to take it negative.
Nate has said the most relatable thing to me all night, because like there's one thing that the guys at Alec Bradley, and we all are a family, we love each other to death, but I think sometimes they forget how often I talk the way that I do and jab the way that I do, that I think almost I actually found out that it was a positive experience for a period of time where I was like, I type an email and then I'm like, I'm just gonna call them, like because I'm like, I'm gonna send this email and like someone's gonna be like,
someone's gonna take it wrong,
right?
Yeah,
they're gonna be like, man, Ryan cut me like a knife, and it's like, haha,
Jesus, Ryan, you have to copy everyone on this,
right?
Jeez,
Like,
just to me, man.
Yeah. You were on that email.
No,
Go ahead, continue. I'm
But
sorry,
no,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm enjoying the fact that, whether I take this position or not, I'm considering it a success, because that means that there's someone out there that's willing to take a chance on me, even though literally when it comes to this position, the only experience I truly have is a combination of this podcast and working at the Tinder Box.
Sounds pretty awesome to me.
That's the experience I have going into it.
Yeah.
It is vastly different than the experience everyone else who's had this position for this company has had.
Who would have thunk it?
But
Who would have thought?
I'm enjoying the opportunity I'm enjoying the fact that they want to take a chance on me, and that I have the opportunity to say yes.
Nice.
Usually I've been waiting on the other party to say yes. Now it's up to me whether or not to say yes.
Nice. What am I currently enjoying? I know, again, I feel like people think this is a reoccurring thing for me. I am currently enjoying my like gym time, which is not always the case. A lot of times, just like anything else, things become mature. A job becomes a job. Really, it feels like it. Like it's like just not a rut. It's just kind of like, yeah, I got to go again. I got to go do this. It's like right now, I have, and surprising because I don't like this time of the year. We were talking about a couple weeks ago at the gym, all the New Year's resolutions, and how it's just such a classic thing that, first few weeks of January, maybe to mid-February, the gym is more crowded, and then it kind of balances back out.
That's why last week I told you to look at it as an opportunity.
I'm gonna give everybody a Ryan Ponist pro tip right now. Figure out your New Year's resolution at the beginning of December, and December 15th, put it into effect.
Why wait, right?
And if you're still doing it January 1st, you did it. And if you didn't, you can just watch everybody else be miserable trying to execute.
You come up with something else.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
that's my pro tip.
Go round two on
my
that.
pro
That's
tip.
a pro tip.
Yeah,
Honest tip right there.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, I'm currently enjoying the kind of it's right now. I don't know what it is that's really kind of clicked again recently, but it's like I said, kind of like I switched up a couple supplements. I switched up my diet a little bit. It's what was the last question was what am I excited for was number 2. It's like
you scrolled forward back.
Yeah, number 2 was what am I looking? God damn you!
I've been writing these down.
Excited for what am I excited for? That was like sometimes it's just like a good night's sleep, and I don't throughout this last year, throughout other year, like I was not looking forward to that. Like now I'm like looking forward to maybe getting a good night's sleep or sleeping in a little bit. I've restructured my day to a point where there was a good time, and it was very, very impactful on my life. For those that have watched the podcast, been a part of the community, and I get asked a lot from different people, like, are you still doing your walks? And I haven't been, but that was really important to me, and I'd like to start it back up. But I mean, I was waking up, I was going to the gym, then doing anywhere between like a 20 and 60 minute walk and doing all that before going into the shop to my job. And then at night I was basically able to hang out, and I'd go next door to the pub or something like that. And I was just always doing something. I've actually enjoyed branching off of gym time. It's been nice because I've been feeling a little bit younger, more energetic, you know, kind of more cognizant, as opposed to when it's just, I got to do this again. It's my routine. I got to go to the gym. I got to do the walk. Like I'm enjoying the fact that I have, and I mentioned this, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, where it's like a little bit more me time, like kind of making myself part of the equation a little bit more is what I said. And I've been enjoying the at least current results of putting myself a little bit more part of the equation of a lot of things in my life. And that doesn't necessarily mean I need to be alone. It means how I'm choosing to spend my time and what I'm getting out of it. So that's where
I think you've kind of gone from just the ground level view to a little bit more of like that 30,000 foot view. Like you're looking at it from a higher perspective where you can see more of what's going on around.
Could be.
You know, so you can see what's going on, and now you're actually focusing on different things that you may not have seen.
Could be
just at ground level.
Well, and one thing related to what you said about like the gym and everybody think you're always enjoying it, and like I think like that's something like maybe everybody needs to hear it, and you need to hear it, myself and Nate. You know, I think that's what people don't realize is sometimes things that are good for you aren't always necessarily easy. Sometimes people that do things on a regular basis, seeing you go to the gym and focus every week, you know, because you post it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to think that you're enjoying it, but like a lot of people don't understand that, like, yeah, no, sometimes it's work. Sometimes you don't enjoy it. That's why people aren't doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's the consistency of it. That's where this question of, you know, what am I currently enjoying? It is that, and I've gone through waves of that where I was really enjoying it, and then, you know, just in this last couple months, it was still going on where it was just like I was going in, I felt weaker in the gym. I didn't feel like I could get through the workouts. I wasn't getting much out of it. It was like, yeah, I was going to do it, but it was like just to get through a workout. And then, you know, I've got an Apple Watch, and I don't trust it completely on a lot of things, but it's like, man, that was a pretty lazy workout, you know? And then there's other times where I'll do it and I'm sweating just between work and the podcast, I sweat my ass off doing a shoulder workout. And I feel like I was, you know, I'm working out next to people just doing, you know, similar kind of workouts. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but like, I'm like pouring sweat off my bald head, and I look over and everyone else is just kind of just chilling and not even a bead of sweat on them. I'm like, well, that's good or bad. I mean, I guess it could be.
Who knows? But you know what? You're doing it.
But at least you're putting in the effort.
Yeah, you're doing it.
I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. All right. Number 6, what am I committed to? It's a little different.
Yes. Yeah, it is different. That is different.
The whiskey?
Yes, that's exactly.
I feel like that's weird.
The funny thing is,
you
like,
took a sip of the whiskey. Like, yes, that is different.
I thought about, do I go with that joke, or is that too telegraphed? But
not on the audio. They don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
They don't know.
Let's see, take a sip.
That's
Ryan, true. What are you committed to today?
So, you know, one thing that I'm committed to, and it sounds weird because like I have mentioned like travel a lot, like going around the country, but one thing I am committed to is going somewhere outside of this country. And the funny thing is like I started with Alec Bradley in 2015. And at my prior job, I was never really one for vacations. I hadn't taken a vacation for several years at my last job.
Yeah.
And then this job, I didn't take a vacation until April of 2019, I believe it was. And I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh yeah, like traveling isn't always just getting in my car and driving to a cigar shop in Columbus, Ohio and talking to Steve. Like sometimes
that was nice though too.
That was nice.
I mean,
yes,
talk about some highlights over the
down.
years, you know.
Not putting it down, but it's not always
a highlight for me.
It's not the repetition stuff. Like you that is the idea of traveling, is like, as weird as it sounds, and this kind of talks into the stuff. Columbus does feel like home to me because like I've been here a lot. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like same thing with Toledo and Cleveland and all these places. Like
a lot of homes away from home.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
And like, I think sometimes that you forget that like, oh wow, travel's about going somewhere like you haven't been to and experiencing something new.
Yeah.
You know, so the idea of like, after that happened in 2019, where I went up to Alaska and it was like one of the best things I ever did.
Nice.
You know, I was like, oh yeah, my thing is I'm going to go travel abroad. Like, cause I've never truly been out of the country. I've been to Canada kind of and
on the way to
Honduras.
Alaska.
Yeah, basically, yes, absolutely.
Vancouver for a
Yes,
day,
and I've been to Honduras, so which was a great trip too. But like, it's that idea of like, I was like, I'm gonna start taking more vacations, and I'm gonna travel, and then we know how that went in 2020. So that
the vid got us.
That wasn't a thing really. In fact, that was the things that they told you not to do. So
they did, among other things. Yeah.
So among other things. So yeah. So that's what I'm committed to. I do want to get a trip on the board at some point to get out of the country.
Where do you want to go? I mean, I'm not saying like where we go. I'm saying where do you want to go?
So right now, the top.
Go to Mexico in April.
The top
I'll tell you
three
where we're going.
I'm going to Nebraska in April.
Oh, I was like, that's not traveling abroad.
Well,
I'm gonna go to Nebraska.
when you're from Pittsburgh, Nebraska is abroad.
Abroad is
from Ohio,
outside the Midwest.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to Connecticut.
So my top three, which I don't think they would be one of the next trip I would take.
Yeah.
My top three right now is Japan, Belgium.
Those are big swings.
Why are those big swings?
I think it's great.
And probably like Ireland or Scotland, or probably I hate to lump them together because I'm sure
the UK
appreciate that specific those islands of the UK. Yeah, that's probably where.
I don't think you're gonna offend anyone if you want to go to one of those places.
No, I'm saying like I would like to go to like both of them, but I like Scotland and the Scottish and Irish people would probably not be super geeked about being lumped together as like the same thing. You know what I mean? Like they're not, but like they're also
typical
short
American,
enough that I can knock them off in like maybe like a 12-day trip or something like that.
It's great. Yeah.
So that's what I'm committed to, is going somewhere else.
Yeah. Charlie Creekmore says, Nebraska, did you lose a bet?
I did not. I became the business development manager of Alec Bradley.
You're going to develop some business.
So I got to go develop some business in Nebraska. So I'm looking for. I've never been there, so
you've got the right color shirt for it.
100%. I'm look, anywhere I've not been, I'm always excited to go. I've never went to a place.
Ray's offended because you didn't say Vietnam.
No, it's because he's from the UK.
I know.
Jesus.
What's wrong? No, I want to go there.
He's joking. I think that's
because you didn't say England. You said
a laughing emoji.
I would go to Vietnam. I can't see. All I can see is my big Kool-Aid.
Well, the last time you were on was when you had Tim from Dirty Dog Cigar, and Tim's got the prosthetic
I do
arm.
have to go look for Tim's hand. He lost his ring.
Yeah, he lost his ring.
You hook up with Ray Chester out there. You go on a little.
We'll go check it out.
Because he told Ray
trip out there. And see
he told Ray, if you go like 15 clicks west of Ho Chi Minh City,
my luck, I will find like virgin punji stick traps somewhere. Like you'll never see me again.
Nate, what are you committed to? And I'm not gonna change your answer, but other than seeing this through with the job,
I'm committed,
because I think that would be on a day-to-day basis. Like if you were asking these questions, not to put words in your mouth, but I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. If you were asking these questions this morning, that would be one of those things. I'm committed to see this through, and you know what I mean.
I'm committed to finding a balance of what makes me happy as well as what adequately provides for my family.
Nice.
And because I truly believe if you do something that makes you happy, you're happier to be around, especially at home. If you're doing something that makes you a miserable person during the workday, guess what? When you clock out, you're probably still a miserable person.
Well, you're probably, likely a miserable person to be around.
Yeah. So I'm looking, I'm committed to finding something that accomplishes both goals, makes me happy as well as, does what I needed to do and be able to provide. Cause I've had those opportunities where, I've done what made me happy and it, didn't necessarily do what it needed to do outside of work.
Yeah.
So,
Steve,
what am I committed to?
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
try it.
No, go ahead.
I am currently like this today. If I was asking these questions, I'm committed to. For me, it is a work thing. I'm committed to getting this Smoking 10 event. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
committed to. I mean, it's getting on a crunch time, and it's been challenging this year. It was nice doing it last year after not doing it for 3 years.
You put a lot of work into it that the rest of the staff, even with such a small staff at the Tinder Box, they don't see the work that you actually put into it.
Well, I appreciate that. It's just I'm committed to finalizing some of these conversations and getting commitments out of people and getting all the details and getting the tickets on sale. It's later than I'd like to, earlier than we've done it in certain years. But I mean, I'm just if I was asking the question today, I mean, not to talk about more of the treetop level, like I'm committed to my relationship. I'm committed to my girlfriend. I'm committed to, doing the gym time, some of the stuff I brought up. But like, if I was asking myself this morning before going to work, I'm committed to really pushing to finalize this and then to maximize the success of the March event on March 18th. I'm committed to providing, from my role at least, providing for the customers and the vendors and for the business I work for and Brian, the owner of the shop, to really show that level of commitment that it's not just putting things together. It's once again having a very successful event and hopefully even more successful in certain ways and maybe learning some stuff as we always do every year,
right?
Of how, because there's a lot of things that I don't have control over of getting certain people at the event. I mean, once again, ran into a lot of roadblocks and it's just committing to really seeing the job through so that I can kind of have a feeling of accomplishment and kind of being, I want to be satisfied with the effort that I bring into that. And I appreciate you saying that, Nate. I mean, everyone chips in. I mean, obviously, Brian, the owner of the shop, he's the one that, I bring a lot of the especially the initial planning to, and we work together. A lot of these conversations with companies and getting everything lined up so that I can go to my boss and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And then we kind of kick it back and forth. But yeah, I mean, if I wasn't doing that, that would put it on someone like Brian's shoulders, or if there was someone else that he would hire to take over my position. I see it as a success, not only that people enjoy the event, but I stay committed to it and see it all the way through so that if I ever do, for whatever reason, I'm not available to do that for the customers, for the owner of the shop, Brian, that it's not like a self-gratification that like they're like, holy shit, like this is tough. It's just like I'm committed to see it through is the biggest thing, because that is like, if you don't, then all of a sudden it's next month and they're like, oh yeah, we're not doing the event, and everyone's disappointed because I wasn't able to line things up and get everything taken care of. Or people go to the event and they're like, yeah, I think this is the last one I'm going to, because it's just it's played out. Well, and this is our 10th anniversary of doing it.
Well, I know that every year we get people, I mean, even in November, they're asking about the 10 event.
Yeah.
And it's like still finalizing some stuff, like keep checking in on social media. Like we'll put it out there when tickets are available and stuff like that. But like we've already talked about it at the shop. Like there are already some challenges that we foresee for the next event that we didn't even have last year. And so it's, part of that conversation is how do we overcome those challenges? Because this is going to be something that we didn't experience last year. It's not the same staff that we had back in 2019 when we did a full 10 event, and it's going to be a little bit different hurdle than what we experienced even last year. So
absolutely,
it's something different, and I because of the people that work there, we'll find a way and we'll get it done.
Absolutely. All right, 7th question, last question, Ryan Ponist, Alec Bradley Cigars. Who and what do I love? Jesus Christ, that's a great answer.
that would be a great answer if that was my answer.
It just blurted out. It's like
waiting for the light.
If it was clear that was not a knee-jerk reaction. What? Can you repeat the question?
Who and what do you love?
Who and what do I?
Is who and what do I love?
Is this a 2-part? Do I got to do a who and
7A and 7B?
Who and what do I love?
All right, I'll break it down a little slower for you. Is who do I love, and then I'll follow up with a follow-up question of. Do we want to turn into 8 questions? Is that what we're doing? We're going to do who? Do I love it's the 7th question. Who and what do I love?
And
you're the I in that. You're not the answer for me. Or we can go around the table and answer for the other people.
I have to see how long I can sit here with my mouth again. I struggle at this question on a live stream.
Dead air is great on audio.
Dead air always sells.
Can you pass the bottle there?
You're gonna need it.
I'm gonna need it. Who and what
do I love? So
you can answer this again.
This is gonna be an insane answer, by the
way. Big picture, or if you just ask yourself this morning when you woke up or going to bed at night.
You know what my gut answer is, and like
Jesus Christ.
If somebody that was my gut answer.
Sorry, everyone.
But the answer with my heart and mind, this is going to be a very strange one. If anybody follows me on like social media, you might be confused at times because there's something that pops up. So my mom started fostering dogs.
Nice.
And she started doing it during the pandemic. So super cool. Hats off to her. It's been great. And one of the first dogs she got, it's a breed called a blackjack, which is a black lab and Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh boy.
I've never seen this dog, never heard of this dog. Apparently they call them like designer dogs. Like this is a dog that would fetch like,
I'm just picturing something super energetic,
like $4 or $5 grand.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really sad story. The dog was essentially abused.
Yeah.
The story that we got was that the guy claims that the dog got hit by a car. He thought it was dead. He threw it over a hill. And 16 hours later, this dog crawled up the hill and he went and staked it in the yard. And the neighbor saw its leg was all fucked up and called and you know, animal rescue came in and stuff. And my mom fostered this dog, and you know, we changed the bandages on it every day and stuff like that. And you know, she was just gonna, you know, she was just fostering. And I told my mom, I was like, "There's no way we're giving this dog up." And yeah, that dog is like my favorite person to see every weekend. Everybody that knows jokes around, like, even though it lives with my mom, because I travel and you know, I live in an apartment where I can't have a dog. Like, everybody knows, like, at the end of the day, it's my dog. And
nice.
No, that's 100% like the apple of my eye. I just absolutely love that dog. Which I guess could a dog be a what?
No, that's a who. That's a who.
We'll say it's a who. Yeah. And what do I love? What do I love? I mean, probably at the end of the day, it's probably just going to be cigars. I mean, it seems like a really dumb thing to say, but at this point where I'm at, it is something that is just so ingrained in my lifestyle, my day to day, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it is given so much to me in the terms of professional happiness and relationship happiness and things like that, you know, it's cigars, you know, 100%. That would be the answer.
It's a good answer.
Even though you said no one-word answers, but I did elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not just like cigars.
Dogs.
Next.
Dogs and
cigars. Nate,
yeah.
how about you?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. You don't talk like that at all.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why.
My wife said you should.
I'm Ryan Ponist.
Just turn into like an emo high school kid. Like, whatever.
My wife said you should name that dog the Energizer Bunny because it keeps going and going.
That dog, if that dog had, it's so insanely.
What's the dog's name?
So it was just originally called Baby, and we never named. So the only thing is, I changed it to. I have some good old boy cousins, and one of them called it Baby Roo, and that stuck. So we called it
Baby Roo.
Baby Roo.
I like it.
That's it.
Not Baby Ruth.
But if that dog had
Baby
4
Ruth.
legs, I could only imagine how fast it would be.
So it is a 3-legged dog.
It's
like
a 3-legged dog.
Amputate the
100%.
leg.
Yeah, they had to take the
dogs
leg.
don't care about that.
And like the insane thing is like that dog's kill count. Like, it has killed more
Animals, people. What are we talking about?
right now. Animals.
Okay.
It could transform. I don't know, but like the amount of like birds and moles and rabbits and whatever. Like,
so this is going to come.
Sounds like a
across as-
good dog.
This is well intended. It's not a joke.
no, 100%.
No, I'm saying it's well intended, not a joke. Have you taken that dog to Tim?
So oddly enough, there is like I guarantee you I will wait till this is over because I will show you like a photo of that dog and Tim, and you will probably cry.
Oh, so this has happened.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
in
great.
fact,
that's great. I love it.
originally Tim was thinking about adopting the dog.
That would be Epic.
Problem was, Tim has steps that goes up to his apartment.
Three-legged dog,
a little bit difficult.
Three-limbed man. Like,
yeah, absolutely. No, they got along very well in that regard. Yeah, there was definitely a bond there. But
yes, like, you're missing something too.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, and I mean, it does sound strange, not to get us off topic here, but it does sound strange, like hearing a human amputee that was born with all of his limbs and lost a limb talk about a dog that was born with all of its limbs that lost a limb. It was kind of interesting to like hear his insight on like, this is the timeline of like how she's going to probably do this and get used to this and learn it. Like it, believe it or not, like, so like, yeah, it's not an insensitive comment or anything. That you said.
I mean, if I just blurted it out, it's like,
absolutely.
Oh, all right, asshole. No, I was like, there is some genuine thought.
Again, if anybody hasn't picked up, Tim only has one arm. So yeah, that is a hook for his other arm.
Or sometimes a hand.
Unless he has that really expensive $100,000 hand that he has to bring to Dublin every year to get work
Believe
done.
it or not, the hook brings you back.
It hooks you in.
It hooks you in.
Yeah, he was a blues traveler.
Nate,
go ahead.
Idiot.
Let me get my harmonica.
There you go. John Popper action. Next guest, John Popper. Nate, who and what do you love?
Who do I love? Obvious answer is going to be my wife. I've talked about her enough.
Sure.
I also love the staff at the Tinder Box that I get to work with, because I get to work with everyone that is there, on different times, and it's just a great group of people to work with. And I mean, you can have a great job, but if you work with bad people, that'll take away from the joy of the job.
Bad jobs become great with good people you work with. 100%.
Sure. Yeah, bad jobs come great with good people. So good jobs become even better, with great people.
100%.
Yeah.
So definitely thankful, for having both of those, work life and home life, being with people that are genuinely good to be around and fun to be around. As far as what, I love doing this podcast. I love driving all the way across town every single week because of getting to do something like this.
Sure.
A lot of times, it may be the last second when we determine what we're going to drink or what we're going to talk about, but it's enjoyable to be a part of the process to make it work.
Yeah.
And, there are a lot of times where, some of the aspects and topics of the podcast might come up last minute, but I think we do such a good job that the average person watching wouldn't even realize that it was a last minute thing.
Until you just said that.
They still won't know.
Sure. That's nice. Who and what do I love?
I'm done.
Cut you off.
I love lamp.
I love lamp. I love refrigerator and TV too. You're just saying things in the room, aren't you, Brick? No, in no particular order.
There's a list.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So
no right or wrong answer. I'm just like the way you led off with that. I'm like, you're going for something dramatically different.
No, I love the people in my life. Obviously, I mean, who do I love? I love the people in my life. My family, my mom. Even people no longer with us, like my dad. But I don't see him as often or talk to him as often. But I mean, and I just have it's a good relationship with my brother and his family. But it's not like some people are super close to their brother and siblings that they talk all the time. And, that's never been the case with my brother and I, but we live in pretty much the same town. He's in Westerville. I'm in, so another suburb he lives 15 minutes away.
Right.
But just with, just like anything else, life gets in the way or, different schedules and all that stuff. But, I do love my family. And, I love my girlfriend. And that's nice to be able to say, it's absolutely been a huge change in my life in the last year. I love my friends, whether it be people I see multiple times a week, like Nate. My friends that I'm going to see on Sunday. There's still a level of love and respect for them. Love my dog. Building off what Ryan said. Tony, my dog. I feel bad. He's in the crate. He's probably going nuts. And but it's just he's been also a huge impact on my life in the last year. And I think the people that have had pets growing up or currently, they kind of realize it's like what you had said, Ryan. It's like, is that who or what? And I think anyone that has had a pet that has had an impact on
I was hoping to
life,
get out of a second answer.
Yeah,
that was the only reason why I asked. I agree with you 100%.
Respectfully, though, that is a who.
Respectfully, I thought I answered.
Especially that's why I asked, like, does your what have a name? Yeah, it's a fucking who. No, but the people in my life, and again, Tony, a dog is definitely a who that I love, and I'm very, very happy to have in my life, and feel fortunate. And then even just to the industry, it's once again.
I think he hears you calling him.
He does.
I think I was like, is that the dog, Mark?
He's like, I'm in here. Like, I don't know if you realize I'm in.
Put me in
here.
a crate. Like,
no, but I mean, even
we used to have him out here.
Love is something. I think it's a mentality. It's not like love, whatever, or friendships. Definitely, there's a love there for everyone that has an impact in my life. And Ryan and other people in the industry. It is one of those lucky for us industries that. Not everyone's your friend, but I mean, there's definitely things that go way beyond just a sales call or a customer coming in and like, I just, get to sell more cigars or whatever widget you're selling, to that customer. But there's the be able to text that person and all that stuff. It's like, it's not to be too corny, but there's a level of love for them, and you do things for them when they need it, or if they need to talk or you need to talk. You'd be surprised if you open yourself up. It's funny. Again, my girlfriend, Kristen, we've been together for a little over a year. And, we just went to, on Monday, a friend of mine that I've known for over 20 years. She had never met, but John Gibson's a friend of mine. And he celebrated his 70th birthday. Wow. And, he wanted people at this celebration that he has a level of love and respect for. And it was myself, who I've known, like I said, I've known him for 20 plus years. And then a lot of people that were clearly older than Kristen and I, and so for Kristen to say, like she's trying to remember all the names of people in different circles. And I don't realize it all the time, but it's kind of like, I have my work friends, I have obviously, the family, but then also she's going to meet more people this on Sunday that I consider my dear friends I don't see all the time. And then you have like Jess and Nate, not Nate on the show, but Jess and Nate who were just here.
Double Nate.
Double Nate, double Jess.
She,
she's had to like learn all the trying to I went to the Fido Christmas party on Sunday, and it was like she's trying to remember all the people in that circle. And then it's like, who's on the podcast this week? I was like, Ryan Ponist. I don't think you've met him before. You've probably seen him on the show because you've seen some of the old ones. And so she has to learn all those people. And it's like, to have that, I'll branch that off into the what I love. And that is going to be the fact that my life has all these circles of close people in my life that I take not for granted, but I don't even like think about it, so like someone like Kristen coming in my life, she's like, I've had to learn, like, I forget what she says. It's just like this many times of names
right.
Than you've had to remember meeting people or people I talk about, like whether it be coworkers or like some of her friends. And then I like her close friends and her family. And then it's like she's like, yours, like, it's like times 10, how many names I'm trying to remember. Right. And it's like, I don't think about that. So like that, I think is like what I love. If I think about it, is I'm feeling like all these things, the grateful, the, what are you happy about? All that stuff is that I have this life that a lot of people could, take for granted or just let things fall off, but not all on my effort, but the effort of those different groups and different people in my life. Like I love the fact that I have people that, invite me to a 70th birthday party, that I'm in people's weddings. I'm the best man for some people, it's like, and someone outside of that, a lot of people outside of that, it's almost shocking because you're like, okay, so like you're in another wedding. It's like, I'm 42 years old. So it's like, oh, you're in another wedding. Like you're going to another like group of friends. Like, who are these people? And it's like, oh, I've known them for, 10, 15 years. Like how many people do you know? And it's just like, from my, core of all these circles, they all overlap. And then other people have met people through, whether it be the podcast or the cigar shop. And all of a sudden it's like people come in the cigar shop that, even like Brian, the owner, jokes like they just want to talk to you. And it's like, well, it's because I've known them for this long. They say hi to you too. So I'd say that's really kind of what I love about that in my life. If I was asking that question, I don't know if I'd have to come up with something every day if I was doing that all the time. But just to kind of run through these again for those who are listening at the end of this, and we'll post it.
You still have those Romeos over there? Because I'm almost through my second Broadleaf.
Well, wrapping it up. So, but yes, absolutely. Light it up. Questions were, what am I happy about? What am I excited for? What am I proud of? What am I grateful for? What am I currently enjoying? What am I committed to? And who and what do I love? I think if you do incorporate these things, and I'm not preaching, I'm not saying I'm necessarily going to do it. It's just, this is to Ryan's point that, he tries to do that at night, kind of have that mantra and then, be able to kind of center himself at the end of the day. Whenever you ask these questions, you'll have some overlapping answers. I think any of us would, but, some days, some weeks, if you're doing it on a weekly basis, you ask this thing, of you 52 times a year, or if you pull these questions out when you are waking up in the morning or going to bed at night and you just feel like life is just on top of you, there'll be overlapping answers. You can even challenge yourself to say, I have to come up with 7 different answers that they're not allowed to overlap, and really challenge yourself.
Or you know what? I mean, even realistically, I mean, like if there's one takeaway I have from this, this job thing's really important to Nate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I mean, that sounds jokey for me saying that, but like at the end of the day, if you have 7 questions and what was it, like 5 of them pointed back to the job, like this is clearly a big thing in your life. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think, or at least at that moment in your life.
Well, I think that is. And when, if he takes the job or, whatever it might be, gets the job, whatever the situation in your life is, there's going to be, in the beginning, it's going to be even that, like, okay, now I've started this job, I've started this relationship, I've started this new venture, or whatever it might be in your life. It will, if you don't ask these questions, it'll start to fade. And then, so that is, your answers will change over it. And not saying that the job for Nate won't be important in, 6 months, but that might be something that he circles back to later in 6 months. Like, I'm really grateful for this job for the last 6 months of this, but say the previous weeks of asking the questions, it was something entirely different. So it's just one of those things that, Ryan, you said it earlier, it reminds you of something. It is obviously this kind of a self-reflection forced upon yourself if you're asking these questions, and however you do it, even if you ask yourself one question every day, or you look yourself in the mirror, I think there is something that the important thing for me, and, so my, closing remarks would be, is take the time to assess your life, or to at least find something good in it. And these questions are just one of probably many you can find of something that you're forcing yourself to reflect, and hopefully it's all positive based. It's like you could absolutely, go through an exercise when you're feeling overwhelmed or you're not feeling like yourself. You could phrase these questions in a different way and say, what's bothering me? What is making me feel like this? It's like, that's one way to do it. The other way is I think this is the more positive, clearly a way to do it is, well, okay, what am I thankful? Who and what do I love? That's a great question.
Sure. That,
again, based on my answer, I don't always think about that.
Correct.
So it's like having that question presented to me, it's like, who and what do I love? It was like, well, yeah, obviously I love my girlfriend. Obviously I love my mom. Obviously I love this. Are you recording me on that?
I just noticed that myself. And I was like, what is it? Apparently my
Google is
somehow Google is triggered, and it is literally running a novel of what we're all saying. Yeah,
I'm interested in what the Google search is going to be.
Yeah, you can't find it out.
Oh, weird. We've confused Google. No, but that would be my closing remarks, is that this is a nice exercise, and I in all the fun, with Ryan saying, there were some redundant questions, but it's like
the George Carlin 10 Commandments skit. Like, I think we could reduce it to 2. like at the end of the night, like, what's some good stuff going on? Who do I love? Like,
just pick 2 out of 7, and then, just do it that way. But yeah, I think this is a nice exercise to do, and it's fun having you here, Ryan.
Maybe take 10 minutes out of your day every 2 hours and ask yourself one of these questions. So throughout the day, you cause these moments of self-reflection.
You could even set daily like alarms on your phone and label it the questions. I mean, there's a lot you can do here.
Do that.
And I think a lot of us walking away from this conversation won't do these questions very often, but I think this is still a good exercise.
I've been doing this for years.
I love it. I love it.
Definitely brought about good comments in the live feed. Some
and I appreciate
some of the people actually answered the questions live.
No,
like,
I mean, look,
Charlie, Lou, Sean, like they actually put it out there and answered these questions on their own. Honestly,
at the end of the day, I think it's. I think like me having fun with the idea of the conversation, everything like that. I think it's one of those things where easily when somebody's put in a position, especially the funny thing is like, this is live in front of how many people, and you just get thrown these questions at, and it's sort of like, oh wow, now I'm really on the spot now. Like, it might be a little bit different in your head. Maybe that's for the better, maybe it's for worse, but it's at the end of the day, like I said, I do something very similar at the end of every day, and it's that idea to sort of clear your head and end the day on a positive note.
Bathe yourself in positivity.
And carries forward in the morning. It really does. I mean, it affects your sleep. It affects everything. And I mean, those are all very, very important things.
Nate, how about you? Round it out here.
I think what's been great about asking these questions is it can change your outlook and your attitude, because it forces you to change your view or your mindset about some of these things.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of times where the day-to-day will beat you down and you feel like you don't have anything to appreciate or to love or to enjoy. But if you actually take the time to do some of the questions that we've gone over tonight, it actually forces you to reassess and look at the bigger picture, because sometimes you get caught up in the moment of negativity. I think sometimes when something positive happens, we enjoy it, and then it's kind of fleeting. We enjoy that happiness, but then it just goes away. And when something negative happens, that's what we tend to dwell on the most.
Yeah, it's easy.
It is easy.
Yeah.
So I think going through these questions on your own actually forces you to try and look at a more positive outlook on some of the things that are going on. And so if you're having a good day, these questions will make you appreciate the good things in your life.
Sure.
Kind of emphasizes some of those good things. When you're having a bad day, it makes you remember some of the good things that are going on.
Yeah, it's forced
because
in a good way.
It's forced in a good way, but the thing it does is it keeps you on the positive side of that scale. And because I think there are too many of us that spend too much of our time on the negative side of the scale. And so these questions kind of bring you back to the positive side of the scale and try and keep you living on that side.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you very much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And for those that were listening live, we appreciate the feedback. We encourage everyone, if you're listening to this after the fact, hopefully you guys can tune in on Wednesday nights and be a part of the conversation. I also posted something on the Bourbon and BS community page on Facebook, which we've got, 17,000 members of, where it's like, we'd love to change, or not change, but add in some part twos of the Beyond the BS sections, where it's answering your guys' questions, talking about your topics, getting you guys involved. Because again, being in here for almost, 5 years coming up, it'd be nice to get some more, what you guys want to talk about, what you guys want to hear us talk about. And if anyone wants to be a guest on the show, whether you're in the industry or not, or you even just, set up a part of the show, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, have you share the link with you guys, get you on there, we can definitely do that. So we appreciate everyone tuning in, guys. Ryan, definitely thank you for the cigars. Thank you for making your way out here.
Absolute pleasure to be back.
Fantastic. We wish
Cheers
you all the best
out there.
Go buy some Alec Bradley cigars. Check out the double broadleaf. Double your fun. No, I'm not going to end it on that. Yeah, cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Double cheers.
God damn. Oh, come on.